This is the voice of the Report of the Week, signing on. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone listening. This is VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week, and we are now here online on YouTube on this 15th of July, 2016, Friday the 15th, not Friday the 13th. It's Friday the 15th, ladies and gentlemen, and here we are. For those of you curious with the food review realm, we're going to be reviewing the triple-double crunch wrap from Taco Bell soon, so that's coming up. Don't worry about it, that's coming up very soon. But here we are. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Here I am, and welcome to this broadcast of VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. So I hope you're doing alright. Me, I'm doing okay. It fluctuates, but I'm doing alright. The channel's doing alright. And that's what's important, all is doing well so far still. It's all doing well so far. So, ladies and gentlemen, in this broadcast, in this program, it's going to be a long one. It's going to be a long one. That's just how it's going to be. That's just how it is. It's going to be probably it's probably going to be around a 3-hour VORW show. It's going to be around that length. I'm pretty positive at this point that it will be. It's going to be around 3 hours in length because we have a lot of letters. We got, a good deal of letters for this program. In total, we got around, what did it get to? Got around, I'd like to say 65. I'd like to say 65 letters or so for this broadcast. So it's going to be a lot. Even if we just went 1 minute per letter, that's already an hour and 5 minutes long. But I like to take some time. I like to give some people some time to read the letters, some time to discuss what was written, answer some questions that were provided to me, and all of that. I'm making this intro last. So I've already recorded the show. I've already recorded all of it. And at this point in time, it's already, around 2 hours and 53 minutes long. So it's a long show. It's a long show. You're going to see a lot of talk about the Ghostbusters film in this one. So it's going to be really Ghostbusters-centric. So I apologize, if you're not a fan of the film and you don't want to hear anything more about it. This is all about Ghostbusters. But remember, it'll be, there's other little topics intersped between it all. And the next show will be a bit more random, one can say. I don't think I did a good enough job explaining two things. We'll get to that later. First and foremost, if you can't tell, we got the new microphone going. So we have that operational now. It's up and running. It's fully functioning and operational. And so we have that. We have this new microphone going. It's the old microphone, but we got the new component for it now, so it's finally working again. So the old microphone is going to be set back to the shelf, and it'll be pulled out as a reserve if needed once more, but we have the new microphone, the old one, the new, you know what I mean. Microphone working again, so you have the higher quality sound, and that'll be that. In channel news, I don't have much to say in that regard. I hope to get a shortwave broadcast back on the air for late July. Funds willing. Hope to get it maybe during the week of the 24th, so sometime between the 24th and 30th. Maybe via Armenia to Asia again, and maybe one to North America. Funds willing, as I said. But if we get that going, then that'll be that, and I'll publicize it more than I did the last. But otherwise, that's all that I really have to talk about. I'll give a brief little rundown of some of the latest uploads. Dairy Queen M&M Peanut Butter Monster Cookie Blizzard. It was a blizzard of flavor. It was melting really quickly, though. It was it was a bit of an issue. Following that was the Dairy Queen Bacon Cheeseburger, which was a disappointment. It was as if someone sat on it, and was not a good sandwich at all. It was very low quality, and as I reiterate, was not a good sandwich. Very cheaply done and overpriced. Eon Energy Drink greeted us on the 6th of July with Energy Drink Review number 152, with the Web SDR behind us, and I believe it was a cranberry-flavored drink. Arby's Brown Sugar Bacon BLT was the next to accompany us on the 7th. Again, it was an alright sandwich. A little too much on the mayo there, though. Little Caesar's Crazy Bread on the 9th, which was a standard little review to try out. And then the Cookout Chicken Nuggets, a real great-tasting, cheap item to try out on the 11th for that food review. Coming up, I plan on doing some other items as well. As I mentioned, I hope to review the Triple-Double Crunch Wrap from Taco Bell ASAP. So I hope to get that soon. Otherwise, is there any news regarding shortwave radio? Anything to keep you updated with? Anything on that regard? And the answer is it's not too much. There were two stations that were coming out. One I think was a pirate. I talk about this later in the show. And another might be an African station from Somalia, but we'll talk about that later. Finally, two last announcements regarding the fan mail segment, which will occur after that time signal. First and foremost, alright, there's a lot of contradictory opinions that are going to be in this. And it's a shame we even have to mention this, but a lot of people are going to bring up the fact that, you know, they're upset about the film due to the all-female cast. And just remember that it's their opinions. They took the time to write it. I'm just delivering what they said, not what I said. So do keep that in mind, and remember that I already disclosed why I'm not a fan of the film, and you can check the last show for that. But, you know, all the words that are said are written exclusively by the individuals who wrote the letters, and I'm just reading what they wrote. So it's their opinions, not mine, and do recall that. On the other hand, there are other contradictory opinions going against what they said, and I apologize for either party if you're infuriated by what may be said by some of the writers, and I apologize in advance. Finally, on a final note, on the terms and on the word of what the next question for the program is going to be, I couldn't think of a question. So I said, you know, write to me whatever you want. Write whatever you want to me for the next program. So that's what I kind of say in the next segment. I just don't know if I explained it clearly enough. But the question for this one is just write whatever you want to me. It can be a question of your own. It can be a general statement. You don't have to write anything at all. You can tell me more about Ghostbusters. You can tell me about sinks. You can tell me how a washing machine is made. You can tell me about whatever you want. So you have complete free reign. Remember, you can write to us via YouTube, youtube.com/user/report of the week. Click on the About tab, and that's Send Message button there. Type the contents of your message and send it off. Or if you're more of an email type of person, email us at repweekinterview1@gmail.com or vorwinfo@gmail.com. Fan art is always appreciated. We got a lot of good pieces of fan art to show off in this program, and looking forward to showing that off to all of you, dear listeners. Well, that said, ladies and gentlemen, and without further ado, we have a lot to read, 65 letters in total about. So that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this time signal going. After the tone, the second half of our portion begins, where we read and respond to your letters. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. And you're listening to VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. And of course, as I do reiterate, if you have any questions for me, you can feel free to ask away. And that's just the question for this program. If you have anything you want to share, anything you want to write, anything totally random, be my guest. And that's what I got. The question for this program, of course, was what are your thoughts on the new Ghostbusters movie that's coming out? So we're going to read your thoughts on the movie and see what the consensus and what people have to say about it. Alright, okay. Remember that I am not a proxy for other people's hatred. That's not what I am. I'm just giving this program. People's opinions are people's opinions, and that's what they are entitled to. But nonetheless, I'm not here to spread hatred or any of that. I'm just here to read letters and respond to them. This is a long one starting out. It's a very long letter, but nonetheless, this person has a lot to say. So let's read. Dear Mr. Report of the Week. So, you want to know our opinions on the Ghostbusters remake? Oh boy, this is going to be fun. Here's my take. First of all, I'd like to say that I have absolutely no plan on seeing this movie. I'm not the type of person to go see movies that I know are going to be terrible, as I have better things to do with my time and money. To be honest, I'm not even a very big fan of the original Ghostbusters, but I certainly don't think it's a bad movie by any means, and I appreciate it as the classic it is, but it's just not for me. Now, moving on to the subject of the upcoming remake, and honestly, I don't even know where to begin. Now, I don't want to come across as sexist or misogynist by my rant, but there are some points that I absolutely need to address. In fact, keeping in mind what I just said, let's dive into the first point. This movie hasn't even come out yet, and skeptics are already being called sexist for voicing their rightfully so doubtful opinions on the movie. As I said, I don't want to be called a sexist or misogynist either, but I shouldn't even have to say this. But why do I? Because this movie is built from the ground up to be a trap for reviewers. Because if they give it a bad score, they'll be harassed by feminists and social justice warriors because of the all-female cast. I can assure you that any reviewer who gives this movie a poor rating will undoubtedly face death threats and harassment on social media, and could potentially even lose their job if these SJWs cause a big enough stink. As I suspect, most reviewers and their affiliated websites and or magazines will want to avoid this, and as a result, will give the movie a higher score than it rightfully deserves, leading to more people going out to watch the movie, and as a result, more money for the producers. It's like the famous story of the Emperor's new clothes, where everyone is too scared to tell the Emperor that he is naked because they will seem foolish, and so they just go along with it. This is the goal of the movie, to scare people into watching it, and it makes me sick. The movie hides behind the fake shroud of promoting gender diversity in Hollywood, when it's really just exploiting that cause for cash. I'm a huge proponent of diversity of any sort, and seeing corporations abuse it and rake in huge profits as a result just reminds me of how long it's going to take to achieve true equality for all. If we keep making a point about our differences, whether it be race, gender, sexuality, what have you, the more different we're going to seem, and the harder it is going to be to achieve equality. I don't think differences are a bad thing. In fact, I believe they can be beautiful and make each of us who we are. But if people need to understand that they are pushing their differences in others' faces, they are going to make other people more bitter and hateful towards them. Without getting too political, we see this today with groups like Black Lives Matter, causing riots and disrupting speeches. These are the stories that make headlines, because they're rude and obnoxious. However, in the meantime, there are thousands of people that are kind and caring members of the Black Lives Matter movement who don't go around causing violence or disturbing the peace, and want nothing to do with the extreme end of their group. The Ghostbusters remake is a testament to the age we live in, where everyone is too scared to risk to offend anyone, while at the same time shoving their own agenda down other people's throats. Let's take a little sip of water and continue on with the reading. The gentleman continues, let's look at the cast of this movie. First, you've got Leslie Jones. I can't say much about her, other than it looks like she was only included in the cast to add extra diversity. Then, there's Kristen Wiig. I don't mind her at all, I think she's a pretty good actress. Then, it gets bad, and I mean really, really bad. Kate McKinnon and Melissa McCarthy. Just by themselves, either one of these actresses is enough to completely ruin an otherwise fantastic movie, but both of them in the same film, God help us. Kate McKinnon is apparently a comedian, but is one of the most unfunny people I've ever heard. I have just never been more physically uncomfortable listening to someone try to be funny, and I've only been able to sit through about 5 minutes of one of her stand-ups. Trust me, that was way more than enough. She is sub-Jeff Dunham tier when it comes to comedy, and that's saying something. Then you have Melissa McCarthy, who is literally only in movies because she's fat, and that's it. She's not funny, she's an awful actor, and she's certainly not attractive. All she does is provide cheap comedic relief through an endless stream of fat jokes. For anyone who plans on seeing this movie with friends, first, I'm terribly sorry for you, and secondly, take bets on how many times she makes a joke relating to herself being fat. It might be difficult to keep count, as I'm sure each one of you will be roaring with laughter. Moving on. Even the title of this movie makes me upset. As I said at the beginning of the letter, I'm not the biggest fan of the original Ghostbusters movie, but I respect that it is a classic in its own right. So why on earth would the producers of the Ghostbusters remake give it the same title as the original? A movie that everyone has heard of and everyone knows about. If you go to the Wikipedia page for the remake, it has to be specified as the Ghostbusters 2016 film, because the name is identical. This trend of taking the original name for a movie or video game and using it for a remake has been getting more and more popular in recent years, and it really annoys me. I know you're not much of a gamer review buff, but perhaps you've heard of the game Doom. I have. And yes, I'm talking about the original 1993 first-person shooter Doom. Why do I have to specify that? Because the newest installment of the Doom franchise is called the exact same thing, Doom, and lo and behold, the Wikipedia page for this game has to refer to it as Doom 2016 video game, because the name is exactly the same as the original game. There are countless other examples of this happening in film and video game industries, and that's one that immediately came to mind. This trend is confusing and lazy and needs to be stopped. In the case of Ghostbusters, it is especially bad because the original is such a classic and now has to share the same name as this piece of garbage. Perhaps it is another tactic by the producers to scare off potential bad scores for those who don't want to tarnish the name of Ghostbusters. It's worth considering. Well, there you have it. That's my rant on the Ghostbusters remake. I had other points, but they weren't as important as the ones I brought up already, and it's getting quite late. I need to sleep, and I'm leaving on vacation to London tomorrow. I'll be there for 12 days enjoying the city, and thanks to recent events of Brexit, it won't cost nearly as much as it would have a month ago. Peace be with you, Review Bra, and remember, don't cross the streams. Sincerely, Jack. Well, thank you for writing, Jack, and thank you for your letter. Let's take a sip here. I feel you brought up a bunch of good points, but, people are going to fight. People are going to be shaking their heads in disagreement with what you have to say, but really thank you for taking all that time to even write it, that must have taken a long time to write. It was very long. And people might say, well, someone who might disagree with what he had to say might say, well, why are you reading something like that? And you gotta remember, someone took the time to write that. Imagine if you took the time to write your letter and it wasn't read, I feel like that time was wasted. And mind you, if I don't read your letter, just resend it to me politely, and, I'll get it back, and I'll reread it. That's no problem of mine. But, I just want to give him the right to have it read, that's what we got. On to the next one. I have multiple questions, if that's okay. Question 1. How would you recommend a fellow YouTuber grow his channel to your degree? What was the key to your success? And I know it's not the viral video or Tosh, because those are ephemeral, one-off, and don't help in growing a loyal fan base. Well, in terms of growing the channel, you gotta have your own gimmick. Now, when I started this channel, I didn't want to be unique. I didn't say, alright, I'm gonna dress up in suits for these reviews, and I'm gonna talk a certain way, and I'm gonna act a certain way, and that's how I'm gonna do this channel. That's not the case. Because if it was, I just think it wouldn't be. I'm just being me. That's just how it is. I'm just being myself. I wear the suits when I'm not filming. I talk as I do when I'm not filming, and that's just how it is. The fact of the matter is, though, you have to have your own thing going. You have to have something that is unique, whether you know it or not. You have to have something that's kind of, whether you like to call it this or not, that's your brand. That you started this, you did it, you own it. Alright? I don't know, say you want to do video game reviews, say you want to do food reviews, say you just want to make videos of you jogging around the block every day. Do something in the video that makes it yours and not someone else's. Alright? Talk about a certain thing in it. Do a certain thing in it. Make it yours. Make it unique. Make it special. Alright? It's going to start off slow, but you might be able to get a gradual increase. Spread the word. Spread the news about it. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Post it. Advertise it. And get the word out. And you never know what'll happen. Post it around. And who's to say? Your channel might blow up too. Be advised, though, having a big channel isn't what everyone makes it out to be. It's a living hell. I'm not going to go there. Not going to go there. Question number 2. I'm thinking of starting a podcast. Should I put it on YouTube and iTunes exclusively? Where else do you distribute yours, and how structured and planned is your podcast when you begin it? Yeah, put it on YouTube and iTunes, and if you want, put it on SoundCloud too, but you got to kind of pay a little more money for it. So if you want to put something in, you can put it on SoundCloud too. I don't even put it on iTunes. Someone else does. I don't put the VORW show on iTunes. I just put it on YouTube, and then someone else takes it from there. But, maybe put it on SoundCloud, see how that might work once or twice. You can, for free, put 3 hours of content, and then from there you kind of gotta pay a little cash to get more time to put on. And how structured and planned is it? It's not. Like tonight I just said, well, I got the microphone working again, so let's do a VORW. So I'm just making all this up as I go along. It's all 3 hours of improv, 4 hours of improv, whatever it is, whatever it comes down to. But that's all that it is, no planning. And question 3, if you had the finances to do so, where would you move? Or would you even want to locate? I'm fine where I am. It's nice. I like the clean air, the peace and quiet. It's nice. Thanks, Review Bro. Well, my pleasure. And thank you for the questions. On to the next. This next letter from a gentleman that brought up the Paul Harvey video. I'm all good, thank you for the offer, though. You know who you are. On to the next. Hello, Review God. My name is Miles, and this is my response to my thoughts about the new Ghostbusters movie. Let me start off by saying that I am not into the Ghostbusters franchise, and have never watched a Ghostbusters movie before. I am more into Brokeback Mountain, if you catch my drift. Anyways, I understand how the film's goal is to put more women into the hero roles of movies, and I agree that it would be great to see more women more often as the hero. But where Sony Pictures Entertainment effed up is when they took a classic film that made a big impact on American culture and manipulated it into a political tactic to put women at the same rank as men. Sony should have made their own unique and enjoyable film franchise that included women as a team of heroes. Then maybe it would have given the message that women can be in a franchise as successful as Ghostbusters or the Avengers without using an already existing franchise as a stepping stool. It would make women seem independent, which is something that this movie does the exact opposite of. Thank you for the question, Review God. Well, thank you for writing, Miles. And thank you for that. Hey, Review Bra. I'm writing in for the second time in a row on the topic of the Ghostbusters movie. I personally don't care much for the new movie, and it honestly kind of irks me. The original Ghostbusters is one of my favorite films, and it feels like they're recreating it to cater to a new audience and not to someone like me, a fan of the original movie. At the same time, I don't think that the Ghostbusters films need to be revived. I'm not even considering this new film part of the series. I just don't care. I have one question for you before you go. You might have discussed this before, but I'm curious. How did you begin taking your night walks? I've started taking them recently, and I quite enjoy them. I also wanted to apologize for what I wrote in the last time. No, it's all fine. Thank you for writing, Matthew. And, in terms of the Ghostbusters movie, it's a sad thing to think. It is sad that there's going to be a generation of, kids who, when they think of Ghostbusters, they're going to think of this movie. They're not going to think of the legendary movie, the first original Ghostbusters. They're not going to think about it. Rather, they're just going to think of this movie. They're going to say, Ghostbusters, yeah, it's that, not that stupid old movie, from the, from the 80s. That's what they're going to think about it. And I think that's a shame. That this is how it's going to be known as now. This is going to be the Ghostbusters movie, not going to be the original one, which it should be known as. I think it's a shame, I do. How did I start taking the night walks? Well, it originally started back in 2011 when I was a bit younger. I would be up late at night on the computer, and, sometimes it would get stuffy and cramped in the office. And I'd say, I'm gonna step outside on the front porch and get some fresh air. Get some of that cool night air. And, get some fresh air in my system and, see how that is. And I remember going outside at night and no one around and seeing everything so still and quiet. And I remember thinking, maybe it'd be fun to venture out beyond my, my front porch, beyond my driveway, beyond my property, and to take a walk. And I didn't do that until around 2014 or so. But then I began doing that, and it was just a really relaxing, calming way to, to soothe my thoughts and rest my mind. And it was just a great way to get some exercise, to, communicate with nature, communicate with yourself, and a great way to soothe your mind and your soul. After I took the first one, I realized how much I liked it, and I decided that's what I'm going to do from now on. I'm going to take the night walks. And that's how it started. On to the next. Hello. This is my first time writing in. I recently started watching more of your videos and following your new releases. Prior, I had seen a few, but I did not look deeper into your channel. I'm a big fan of what you do, and it's really reassuring to see somebody so confident in the way they live their life. I think I face some of the same issues you do, the ones you've mentioned in your Average Day video, as well as some of the VORW shows. You seem to have a very clear idea about what is important in your life. However, something I struggle with, and I'm working on. I often find myself engaged in hobbies that I do to pass my free time. I become somewhat obsessed with these, and I eventually either lose track of what I'm doing, lose track of whether I am really enjoying them. Do you ever experience this? From time to time. That's why the best thing to do sometimes with some hobbies is to take breaks before, or else you might burn yourself out. For instance, with shortwave stations, I would enjoy writing reception reports to stations. I'd listen to the broadcasts, and I'd write down what I heard, and then I'd send an email or a letter to the station, and I'd get a little QSL verification card back. And I did that with such, if this is a word, hopefully, such fervency, with such great pace, so fervently, that I burned myself out. And it didn't become interesting anymore, it just seemed like work to do. So I took a break from it. And now I'm back doing at it again after I took about 3 or 4 months off and just listened to the stations instead of writing to them. And now I'm back doing that, and it works out pretty well. But as just an example, try to take, a little break or two if needed. If you have the ability, with one hobby, focus in on it a little bit more, if you can't with the other one, and, just see what happens. I have one more question to ask. You've said that you wear suits because it's what you enjoy wearing, and as a result you are free to dress in the style of your choosing, often not following the latest fashions. I would like to know if you were instead doing so because formal attire was a work requirement, would you dress individualistically like you do now? If not, what kind of suit would you choose for work purposes? What would be your ideal generic professional look? My professional look, I'd still go with, it'd be subtle, but it'd still have that air of traditionalism to it, which I like in clothing. So, it'd be a standard, and people always freak out with black suits in the workplace. Oh, yeah, save the black suits for funerals, But I don't listen to that. I would wear a black suit. Pants would still be pleated, it would be a very innocuous black suit. The pants would still be pleated, creased, cuffed, still a wider leg, but it wouldn't be anything too exaggerated. Pretty much what I still wear, like what I'm wearing right now, black, pleated, creased, and cuffed pants. Maybe if it was more of a business casual workplace, I might wear like a blue dress shirt, and a striped or patterned tie, and whatnot. Maybe wear a double-breasted suit here and there, single-breasted wide lapel suit, mostly just darker colors, but pretty much what I'm just wearing right now, what I wear on a base-to-base, day-to-day basis. I recently graduated from university, and at some point I will be getting my first suit. I'll probably go for something basic to start with. I like the suit that you wear in this picture, and could you say what era or description fits this specific suit best? Thanks for all your content. Hope you have a nice day. Best regards from Deacon. Well, thank you for writing, Deacon. And this picture here was me at the store, holding up this tie, which features a surprised elderly man with his arms up with a ghost performing fellatio upon him. This suit is a 90s suit, maybe early 2000s. So the suit itself is around 10 to... what am I saying, 10 years? No, it's more like 15 to 20 years old at this point. Make sure the pants are pleated. Make sure the pants are, mostly pleated, because the pleats kind of do add some room there. And, in terms of the jacket, you're just going to have to look. You're going to have to see maybe a jacket with a little bit of wider lapels. 2-button, single-breasted jacket. A little bit of wider lapels. I had to really look for this one. And see what comes from there. You're really just going to have to pay attention to the jacket length, lapel width. I don't know how much luck you're going to have in a lot of retail stores finding a suit like this. They're all going to be really tight, short jackets. That's just a real short and tight with, extremely thin lapels. And so finding a roomier suit like this, you might have to search the online venues to really look carefully at the pictures. And eventually you'll see what you like. You will. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on to the next. Dear John Bra, long-time listener, first-time writer. Firstly, thanks to your shortwave guide, I use the WebSDR method for now, but I am considering purchasing a shortwave radio in the near future. The sound and texture are extremely relaxing. I'm not entirely sure how my reception will be in the UK. We'll find out. It'll be better than in the US, I'll tell you that. You'll get some good stations in there. Just scan around. Remember the lower frequencies at night, higher frequencies during the day, and you'll pick up some good stations. You're kind of at a crossroads here. You'll hear some broadcasts to Africa, some broadcasts to Asia, some broadcasts from Asia, Africa, the Middle East. You'll hear broadcasts still to Europe. All the big stations are in Europe. You're going to hear a good amount of stuff still. As for Ghostbusters, I won't be watching it. From the trailer, I can see that the special effects seem cheap and will most likely date quickly compared to the original effects, which are still looking fresh over 3 decades later. I also get the impression from the trailer that there is very little connection between the characters. Again, this is a big part of the original film. It seems to be built around badly written jokes, goo gags, and the modern forced inclusion, including an offensive token black character, an offensive jolly plus-sized character, and an offensive geek character. I find it sad that the film company, Columbia Pictures, seem to be seeking profit from the various social justice factions, but I suppose it's now inevitable. Only a 2-hour-long Bill Murray cameo could save this movie, and I think that's unlikely. And to my questions. Firstly, what kind of food do you eat outside of the food reviews? Or is it the case that your diet consists of the day's reviewed meal, with some kind of supplementary snack when hungry? That's pretty much it. Usually I'll eat what I'm reviewing, and then perhaps a little supplementary snack, perfect word for it, in the meantime. But that's my diet, pretty much. I don't eat salads, but I try to stay active and, keep active and try not to gain too much. And secondly, what are your opinions on New York City as a holiday destination? I travel to the U.S. once or twice a year, but mainly West Coast / Midwest, and I'm considering a few weeks in New York. I'm from London, so although it's expensive, I'm used to worse, and won't be shopping or doing much traditional touristy stuff. Possibly jazz clubs, sightseeing, art museums, food, etc. Your opinions on New York City, please, Review Bra. Keep up the good work. Regards from the UK, from Benjamin. Well, thank you for writing, Benjamin. And in terms of New York City, in terms of how that would be, create an itinerary. It's very fast-paced there. There's a lot of people. There's a lot going on, and it's very easy to get overwhelmed. So if you plan on going to New York City as a tourist, just create an itinerary. Say, all right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and that'll be that. Stay organized, and as I said, create an itinerary. It's a very busy, bustling city, and it's pretty crazy, but it's pretty fun too. Of course, I recommend you get pizza from somewhere. If you want, you can go to the. You can go in and you can wander around the streets and find a Villa Pizza, and you can go to one of those places and you can get their trashy, garbage-tasting pizza, and you can sit there and you can eat it and you can exclaim how bad it is, and then you can think and you can say, wow, Review Bra ate this same pizza, and he didn't like it either. Thank you for writing, my friend. Report of the week. Due to my fondness of your show, I'm hell-bent on becoming a regular writer of yours, so here I am, writing to the VORW show once again. And once again, I plan on being thoroughly pleased with the content therein. As for your question issued in the previous show, I don't plan on watching the new Ghostbusters film until others see it first. Like you, I also found the trailers very unfunny, much like an Adam Sandler movie. I detest Adam Sandler. However, if people whose opinions I trust happen to watch it and enjoy it, I might give it a try, as I have no personal beef with the movie itself or the idea of it. In fact, I think it's a good idea to take old heroes, and make them role models for young women, as they are not in as high supply. However, none of that matters if the movie sucks. As for a question of my own, what do you think about good role models for young women in the media? Do you think there are enough? I don't think I do, though. I think the problem is getting better, but I'm very curious on your take on the matter. Peace be with you from Andrew. Thank you for writing, Andrew. Role models for young women in the media. I think a lot of this is just my personal opinion, but I think a lot of the celebrities today, some of them are good role models. Some of them show that, maybe they started out with nothing, they kept getting kicked back down, and they were able to work their way up. They were able to, get to someplace they never imagined they could be. They were able to challenge, all the guys. They were able to work their way up and do something that people never thought they could do, and, now they're rich and famous and reaping the benefits of their hard work. I think that's a fine role model. But the celebrities that just sit there, famous for nothing, just sit there doing drugs, over-sexualized, I just don't think that's the best kind of role model for young women. I think, that's just my opinion, though. I think there should be more people that, actually kind of worked hard to get their fame, to actually show that, even you, if you work hard and you persevere and you keep pushing on no matter who tries to hold you back, you can still get to where you want to be in life, no matter what that'll be. And something like that, kind of show the haters who's boss, show society who's boss, not just, oh, look at me, look at my drugs, and look at my, look at this stupid outfit showing off this and that and everything else, and look at my cars, and look at my big mansion, look at that pool I got that you're never gonna have. I don't like that ideology that's ever so prevalent today. It's another reason why I don't follow celebrities. It's the epitome of narcissism, I find. Hello, Review Bro. I'm not sure if this is the best or most efficient way to contact you. No, it's fine. It's all good. I'm not familiar with Reddit, so why join Reddit only to contact you? I recently discovered your channel, and at first I enjoyed the food reviews because I love burgers. Then I discovered the energy drink reviews, and enjoyed them as well, because I love Red Bull. I then watched an average day video, and I find myself invested in VORW at last. I have subscribed to you, and unsubscribed from every other channel, making you my only subscription. Why? Because I just don't care about anything else anymore, to be honest. I find myself waking up feeling content and peaceful these days, and I've hardly dented the amount of material in your channel, and I'm excited that there is much left to hear. Your videos have helped me escape a deep depression, and although I still spend most of my time in bed and don't do much of anything, I believe you are making me feel more content with who I am as a person. I'm average, I guess. I enjoy simple things like walking, eating, thinking, writing, listening, and talking, and now I'm not searching for unknown answers anymore. Tonight I'll be watching VORW Show 13 about the Shortwave web SDR and operating and downloading it. Seems like a nice and relaxing hobby for my anxiety-ridden mind, and I hope it helps me stay collected and teaches me new things. Anyways, I'm more content with myself after the discovery of VORW, and after many years of the internet, I finally found a place to call home. I don't know why I'm sending this, I just felt I needed to contact you in some way, and if you see this, that's great. No, I did, I saw this, and you have a good day too. WebSDR is nice. When things get really bad for me, it's nice to turn on the static, and I recommend it for anyone else who's has whatever plaguing them. Turn on the static and start tuning around, and anything to kind of distract that the mind, and to make it try to make it whatever is going on a little better. Shortwave is a great thing, though. It's very relaxing. Even just listen to the static. It can be really soothing, white noise. And there's plenty of great stations out there, music, news, cultural, political, whatever they are, to listen to, that are always very interesting and kind of fun to listen to. Speaking of shortwave, lately I've actually kind of stopped. I've took a little break from the web SDR. Well, not a break, I just don't use it as much, because I got a 20-foot long wire antenna. It's like a coiled black wire, and you uncoil it and you plug it into a little port on the side of the radio, and you extend it out away from any RF interference, such as the house. You clip it to a tree branch in the yard, and then you position yourself whether you can get, be it on a porch, maybe move a little lawn chair somewhere. And that antenna really, it boosts the reception on this receiver. I've been listening during the midday hours, and that midday dead zone I was talking about a few shows back is really just decimated with this antenna. Boosts reception so much. I was able to hear stations from all over the world. And it's not just Brother Stare anymore. I was able to hear, I have a little logbook here. Let me put the microphone down for a second. I have a little logbook here that I kind of sometimes write down what I hear. I was able to hear all sorts of stations. I was able to hear, really was all sorts of stations. Able to hear them from Spain, Algeria, Cuba, Argentina, the UK with the BBC World Service. I was able to hear the Vatican, the Voice of America, on several frequencies. Able to hear a station to South Sudan. Able to hear a station from Bangladesh. Able to hear a Cuban number station. 2 stations from India I was able to pick up. Able to pick up some Chinese stations, Iranian stations, Deutsche Welle from Germany. I was able to pick up Radio France from, of course, France. And it was a great listening experience with that antenna. And it shows you what a long wire antenna can do and the difference it can make. And that's a lot better than the usual fire and brimstone that was on the air. In other news of shortwave, there's a new station, 2 new stations on the air. One is probably official. The other is nobody knows. One popped up in North America on frequency of 8060 kilohertz. That's 8060 kilohertz. Playing a variety of programs. First they were playing CNN, a CNN feed for a while. With measurable signals, they were coming in. A lot of other listeners and DXers heard them. And then they were playing some other programs. They were playing music, and then a few nights ago I caught them with strong signals with a very, to say the least, a very tasteful program that was dropping the F-bomb every 2 to 3 seconds usually, and with other slurs and swears. And so that was amusing. But it wasn't my cup of tea, that type of programming, but I'm pretty sure it was a strong pirate station. I think they're being broadcast out of Florida. I was checking remote receivers across the country to try to triangulate the signal, and I was able to pick up really just just a lot of strongest signals out of Florida. And then there's another station, they think it's an African station coming out of perhaps Somalia, on 7750 kilohertz in upper sideband mode. That was relaying the BBC World Service and then programs in local dialects. And they think it's a new official station out of Somalia. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with South Sudan in the news. You hear about it. And there is, a lot of stations going to South Sudan too. Not too many in English, though, because English is not a predominantly spoken language in that region. But yeah, all the stations from South Sudan are still going strong. And there's a lot. By the way, I don't know if this microphone is that sensitive to pick it up or not, but if you're hearing any sort of bangs, that is thunder. There's thunderstorms to the north, but there's I don't think they're gonna hit. If they do, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. No stopping that. Dear King of Reviews, I was watching your DQ ice cream review earlier, and I noticed that you still haven't selected a name for the series yet. If I could make a suggestion on it, I think it would be a funny running gag if you never named the series and just called it quote-unquote review. Thanks for reading this, as always, and have a great day. Well, thank you for writing, and that might be a funny thing to do, to just call it review. I could see myself doing that. Thank you. Hello, Review Bri. I haven't written in for a while due to things in my life being busy, and I had to make a new YouTube account completely, but I have found some time, and I've decided to write you a short letter. To answer your question, I'm not interested in any of the Ghostbusters movies, new or old. It just isn't personally my thing, but I'm not really a movie person in the first place. As for a different question, I know you read poetry for people and whatnot, and I was wondering if you would read a story I'm writing. Not on the air, just as something to read, and give me your thoughts on it. It's about 6 pages long, if I'm not mistaken. I'd love your feedback on it, as I know you are a writer yourself. It is a fantasy about a character I created. Sincerely, a long-time listener and frequent writer, from Steve. Well, thank you for writing, Steve. And write me again and send me the story or a link to it, or email me. Send it there as an attachment, whatever you please. And I'll read it and I'll give you my feedback. Thank you for writing. And thank you for the answer for the Ghostbusters question. Hello, Review Brother. How are things? How's life going? Well and prosperous, I hope. Since we're at the halfway point of 2016, do you mind sharing a quick review of how your year has been for you so far? It's going. Thankfully, there's things in my life right now that are very good. There's things in my life, especially online, that aren't so good. But if I shut the computer off, I'd say it's going great. Life's going great. Of course, we all have our own problems, but it's not really bothering me too much. But otherwise, just as I am right now, keeping the computer on and all that. I just have to say it fluctuates, and just going another day. I enjoy the car reviews and the new food establishments you're able to visit, though I'm somewhat longing for the good old reviewing chamber to come back. Also, I do like seeing you in new locations, like that one park table, and wherever you did the review of the cat. Would you ever consider doing a review or some type of video filmed somewhere in New York City? I think it would be really neat to see. Maybe it would be possible if, I go to Central Park or something and can do something there with that. I think that'd be an interesting little setup. Thank you for writing. VORW number 126 fan mail. Well, Review Bruh, I finally did it. At the age of 23, I finally bought my very first suit. It's a two-piece, gray, single-breasted, classic cut suit with very dark tortoise-shell buttons. Unfortunately, the pants were too big for me or my tailor to fix, but I have a pair that complements it just fine. I brought it primarily for interviews or events. However, after wearing it for a day, I find that not only was it very comfortable and easy to wear, but it also gave me a lot more social confidence. People always say that it's not what you wear that makes the man, but who you are that makes you a man. And that is true in many ways. However, what you wear is in many cases a reflection of yourself, and fortunately or unfortunately, 98% of humans are likely to judge you purely on how you look. So, I decided to test this out. This week I decided to dress differently every day. One day I dressed like a stoner, blue jeans, a Ramones t-shirt, and hat with a marijuana leaf I bought that day at a thrift store. I browsed around dollar stores, supermarkets, and the fancier clothes stores to gauge people's reactions. And overall, people looked at me with suspicion, looking down at me as if I were a lazy, unambitious plank. When referring to me, they would call it, "Hey you," or "Excuse me." The next day, I decided to dress like most people in my town. A pair of jeans, trainers, plaid shirt, and a plain sun cap. The day went to be as expected. I blended in with the public perfectly, and I neither caught people's attention and neither appalled them either. In fact, many people came up to me and started conversations with me about the color of the fruit, or how good the weather was, etc. I was one of the group. When people talked to me, they called me mate or sir in a friendly manner, as if they knew me. On the third day, I dressed like my usual self. A pair of brown trousers and a beige shirt with a patterned brown tie and a green cardigan. You can imagine I usually dress like a 50s librarian or a male Christian spinster, so to speak. I say spinster because that is exactly how people usually see me, as on first sight. They talk to me as if I were slightly slow or wearily, as if I were a devout churchgoer. Being part of the group, I had now found myself below it again, at least in their eyes. And I was now once again an outcast, not something to hate or make fun of, but rather someone to pity, perhaps. Finally, after getting my suit, I decided to take it around for a stroll. And oh boy, did I shock the store attendants. Suddenly I went from mate and buddy to people calling me sir, but not sir in the matter-of-fact, everyday kind of way. No, not at all. This was a sign of respect, a warm, welcoming use of the word sir that rolled off the tongue like smooth butter. Store attendants would come up to ask me if I needed further assistance. People would smile and move and let me through instead of blocking my way. They thought I was a man of importance who was busy and needed to be somewhere. The weird thing is that no matter what I wear, I feel as I am the same person, but everyone else sees only my clothes. Can't say I'm gonna rush out and buy any more suits yet. It's a bit warm, but I will be buying more of them in autumn. Either way, sorry for the long rant, but I thought you may find it interesting. Oh, I did. I thought that was very interesting to see, and, see how clothes, clothes really do, change the public's perception of you. I myself, I wear a suit. I wear a suit every day, of course. Who knows how I'd be treated if suddenly I started wearing, just jeans and a t-shirt or a button-down every day. Very interesting example, though, and I think that's very interesting to see how it worked out and what happened. And I think that's very interesting that you actually went ahead and did your own experiment like that. I think that's really cool and really neat, so thank you for doing that, and thank you for taking your time to do that. As I said, I think it's very interesting. As for this week's question in the new Ghostbusters, this is what I have to say. I saw the first trailer when it came out. I saw the second trailer just a few days ago. I have not seen the film yet, but if it is anything like the trailer, I would gable that it's going to be another standard, annoying, loud kids film with lazy writing and butt jokes. That's not to say the film will be all terrible. This film may have moments that are cool and even a few laughs here and there, serving as the hint of a goof script that is watered down and chewed up by marketing into something to make a quick dollar out of it. The real question is, would this film be good if it had the original cast in it, or even if the current cast, if they had shot it actually felt like a Ghostbusters movie instead of an Adam Sandler movie. Would have it been better reception? I think so. You can make remakes or reboots of movies, but they will always be compared to the originals. By picking Ghostbusters, they basically chose hard mode. I wish they would remake old B movies from the 70s and 80s. At least those had a lot more room for improvement. Anyway, before I leave, I have another question for you. My question for you this week is, if your life was a movie, what kind of movie would it be? A drama, a comedy, a horror? What would it be about? Mine would probably be about a guy who no longer had anything to lose and decides to travel around the world alongside an unlikely friend who just happened to be doing the same thing. Hope you have a great week, and I look forward to the latest reviews. See you next time, friend. Thank you for writing. And if my life were a movie, what would it be about? Well, I think it'd be a drama film. A drama film about a guy who enjoys doing what he wants to do, but is shunned by society and hated by society for something that he can't understand why, and how he has to deal with that. And that'll be that. That's my film. On to the next. This person writes, what do you think about Obama's suits? I think they are amazing. And there's 2 pictures linked here. If I remember, let's, I'm going to try to get the pictures in this time around. And he says, and let's see. These are his suits. If you can see them out there. These are like mid-2000s suits to cut. They're not overly slim fit. They're not overly drapey either. That's the thing. They are still somewhat roomy in a regard. But, again, it's teetering on the edge of contemporary and traditional. I prefer wider lapels, but at least it's not fully out there. The pants still aren't too tight. The jacket's still a little longer. The lapels are still a little wider. Because he's going with more of a traditional professional look there. He's going with something, that's suitable for a president, Most presidents, they shouldn't be wearing fashionable, slim-fit clothing. They should be wearing a formal, traditional suit, to represent that they're about business, not fashion. And sir, I'll respond to what you had to say at the bottom there right now. I don't want that. Absolutely not. I don't want that. Not at all, because what comes with that is absolute living hell. And I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I don't. No way. This person writes, hello, review god. I think you should wear a vest without anything over it, and I think it'll look good on you that way. Well, thank you for the little sartorial suggestion. I've worn a vest. I'm actually just wearing a vest right now. I have the jacket hanging up. I mean, when I leave the house, I'm going to put on the jacket, and that'll be that, but right now I'm just wearing the vest, and I'm wearing a white wing collar shirt, a purple tie, and black pants, black socks, black vest. Hello, review bra. Last week was my first time writing, and I was surprised by how much it increased my enjoyment of the fan mail segment. Hope to become a regular writer. Now, to answer your question about the new Ghostbusters movie, I too saw the trailer and was not impressed. The humor doesn't look to be my style, and nothing I saw really piqued my interest. I thought the choice to swap the genders of all the main characters could make it fresh and exciting, but so far it's not enough to make me want to purchase a ticket. Now I have a question for you. I know you're an energy drink guy, but do you ever enjoy a nice cup of tea? I could imagine you relaxing with a cup of tea, perhaps while listening to some nice shortwave. I also think you'd be getting a kick of energy from something with ginseng and whatnot. If you do enjoy tea, what's your favorite? And if you're not a fan of tea, why? Thanks for the awesome content. Keep on keeping on. Sincerely, Thomas. Thank you for writing, Thomas. And, I'll drink tea occasionally, from time to time. The one thing is it just takes a while. You know, you gotta wait for the water to boil, you gotta wait for it to brew, but it can be an experience, you know? It can be an experience. I just drink standard black tea. You know, just standard black. And, sometimes Earl Grey tea is nice after dinner. In the evenings, I think that can be pleasant, too. Lately, I've been drinking coffee and the energy drinks, but tea is not too bad either. Hello, here's my Ghostbusters rant. In all caps. Why on earth does it matter that it is an all-female cast? Question mark, with multiple exclamation points following. Now back in lowercase. As if a reboot with males would have made it any better. I totally can't wrap my head around that bigoted view. That females in quote-unquote action movies are bad. If it is a good action movie, Alien franchise with Sigourney Weaver, for example, then it is a good movie, and if it is a bad movie, Species comes to mind, it's a bad movie. And the narrative of they are all pandering to SJWs is so ignorant and childlike, in a bad way, I won't even address it further. I'm not a big fan of the old Ghostbusters because I was more of a dino kid, and Jurassic World wasn't good, not only because of the ridiculous female lead. So, I'm generally not disappointed about a bad reboot. Yes, I think it is bad, like almost all reboots of successful old movies, but it is not bad because of the female lead. The only thing in the trailer that I liked was Kate McKinnon's character, because there aren't enough female versions of Tony Stark-like nerds in movies. But that is totally a personal preference of mine. Thank you, John, for reading this, and have a nice day. Well, you have a nice day, too, and a contradictory opinion there. It's, interesting to see someone going against the tide. You know, I know the first letter we read was really the strong opposite, but very interesting to see there. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to VORW, the voice of the report of the week. Remember, the question for this program is simply, you have control. It's free reign. You can write whatever you want to me this time around. Write whatever you please. You want to talk about taco shells? Be my guest. If you want to talk about lint rollers? Be my guest. You want to talk about shortwave? Be my guest. You want to talk about whatever you want? Be my guest. So write in whatever you want. You have free reign in this one. And remember, you can contact me via one of three ways. YouTube.com/user/report of the week. Click on the About tab and send a message there. Or if you're more of an email type of person, send an email to me at repweekinterview1@gmail.com. That's REPWEKINTRVIEW1, the number 1, @gmail.com. Or write to me at vorwinfo@gmail.com. That's vorwinfo@gmail.com. Let's continue on with the letters. We have plenty more to get to on VORW, the voice of the report of the week. Hello, report of the week. This is a letter for you to read on your VORW. I have listened to all of them so far, and am now listening to them again. I'm up to part 9 for the second time. I enjoy listening to them while browsing the internet or playing PC video games. By the way, where are VORW shows 5 and 10? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I couldn't find them in your playlists. Did you just delete them or haven't made them? Well, no, they existed. They just don't, I deleted them. I just wasn't a fan at how people received them. It wasn't as they intended to be received. Now on to the rest of his letter, on to the meat of the letter, he says perfectly. I watched some of your energy drink reviews a few weeks ago, and I was meaning to write you. It was on a Sunday, and I was bored, and I was playing some rally racing games on my Xbox 360, and I was watching your energy drink reviews on a laptop that was placed on a table in front of me. So I was half watching and listening to your reviews, and I decided to go buy some energy drinks. I'd first tasted some energy drinks while I went to university for a residential school, which lasted about 4 days, and I had trouble sleeping in a terrible quality hotel room I booked. I left it too late to get a university dorm, so I settled on the cheapest hotel I could find in the crappy part of town. There was a loud traffic up at 3 a.m., and I only got to sleep past 3 a.m. I got up around 7 a.m., because university started at 9, and if you missed one or more of the labs on those days, you would fail the entire semester and waste more than $1,000, so I could not risk the chance of sleeping late and arriving late. But there was a service station close by, a 5-minute walk, and there were energy drinks, 2 rock stars for $5.50. I can't complain. I tried a few flavors that there were. If I remember correctly, there were traditional, sugar-free, punched, I enjoyed that flavor the most, and bubble gum. Now maybe there were more which I forget. I enjoyed them a little. The punched was the best, and they did help me feel more energized after a minuscule sleep. Now back on track to that Sunday afternoon when I was bored watching your reviews. I was very curious about them. I went to the local supermarket, and by the way, I live in Australia, where there are some different energy drinks and a lesser selection than America, also in a more rural town, so there wasn't a huge selection. I also checked the local service station. I found some drinks, which I purchased. From the service station, there was Rockstar Original, sugar-free, and 2 punched flavors. Sorry, I don't remember the names, but one can was black, the other was purple, and the punch flavors were by far the most enjoyable, and also the most sugary. Not healthy at all, but that's, to expect. I also saw Original Monster Energy, which I remembered as one of your favorite energy drinks. I got that in the sugar-free. Sugar-free versions of both drinks are bad in my opinion, and the traditional ones are okay, the Monster being slightly better than the Rockstar one. On the supermarket, I purchased some flavors which may only be available in Australia. There's one exotic drink from Asia, Singapore I think, called 28 Energy Drink, or 28 Energy Drink Acai Berry. And it was a black and white can. I think the white was sugar-free. Tried the black can first and it had a bitter taste due to the strong flavor. Certainly had a berry flavor, but it wasn't sweet enough for me. And then there was V Energy, a green can. Tasted similar to Monster, but had an inferior taste. And here is an excerpt from Wikipedia which summarizes V is an energy drink brand produced by Frucor, a New Zealand-based beverage manufacturer. It was launched in Methven, New Zealand, in August '97, and in Australia in '99. The product's success, a market share of 60% in New Zealand and 42% in Australia, makes it the most popular brand of energy drink in both countries. And then there was Red Bull, which is famous. I tried 4 flavors. Original, sugar-free, blueberry, that's the one in the blue can, and tropical, that's the one in the yellow can. Every Red Bull I tried, I disliked, to be honest, because I found them slightly bitter and too flat. I like my energy drinks and soft drinks to be carbonated as much as possible. There wasn't enough sweetness for my liking, and yes, I have a sweet tooth. And then, lastly, there was Mother. I think this flavor is Australian only. I don't think they have it in America. Have you ever tried it? No, I haven't. I think that is just Australia and New Zealand. And let's see what this... This is from Wikipedia. Mother is an energy drink marketed to Australians and New Zealanders by Coca-Cola, introduced in late 2006. It competes with the 2 leading energy drinks on the market, V and Red Bull, in the $151 million industry. I didn't like Mother much at all, to be honest. There was a traditional flavor, which is the best, and then a terrible flavor, which tasted like lemon tea. It was called Rehab. I drank a large amount of energy drinks in just one night, and I regretted it. Don't get me wrong, for some reason energy drinks don't make me stay up all night. They do help me a little bit during the morning when I feel tired, but I drank roughly 3 liters of energy drink in one day. It gave me a slight headache and heart palpitations for a few hours. That's not good. Yeah, that's a bit too much. That can kill you. Looking back, that's unhealthy and dangerous, and I won't do that again. In fact, I read A case of a Norwegian teenager who almost died after consuming 4 liters of energy drinks during a Call of Duty gaming session. He was in the hospital for 13 days. I'll link the article. It was horrible to read and made me think how stupid it was to overconsume the amount of energy drinks, and I won't do that again, yep. It's 16 hours of gaming, too much. I had kidney failure. This guy. Wonder how old the guy was, if it says. He was 14. He was 14 playing Call of Duty. And yeah, that's too many. Too many energy drinks. Caffeine, you gotta realize, if you take too much of it, you're gonna die. That's just how it is. Moderate it. I drink maybe 16 fluid ounces of it a day. That's it. Then tonight, I decided to see if there were any flavors of energy drinks I can try. There was the Frosty Berry flavor and Green Storm. Both of these I had tonight, and both were not very enjoyable. They tasted like you might imagine. The berry one tasted like a bitter berry-flavored drink, and the quote-unquote Green Storm tasted like a V Energy, except inferior with a stronger bitter taste, and there isn't enough sugar to counteract the bitter guarana taste that these energy drinks rely on. That's my opinion on these energy drinks. To sum it up, I'll probably avoid energy drinks in the future, except unless I need to feel energized and awake earlier in the morning, and I'm near a gas station. Or I can easily access and attain these drinks, like the original Monster and Rockstar Punch, which were the only flavors I enjoyed enough to drink again. I just wanted to let you know my thoughts and experiences with energy drinks. If I didn't watch your show, I probably never would have bothered to try out energy drinks, aside from the first Rockstar drinks I had. Last question. In your last VORW, you read a letter which talked about your experiences with Zelda and Mario games, and you said you played Mario Sunshine, which I know is a GameCube game. Do you have a Wii, and have you ever tried to play Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2? Because I have both those games that I enjoyed thoroughly, and I'm not a Nintendo fan by most definitions. I have a very limited enjoyment of their series, but these are their best games, in my experience. If you find them cheap and still have an interest in games, maybe you can try them out or watch some gameplay on YouTube and see if it appeals to you. Yeah, I've never played them before. I've never played them before. Very interesting. That's a smart thing to say, to watch the gameplay on YouTube if you're interested and see how that is, because sometimes that can be fun to do. And lastly, you asked about the Ghostbusters reboot with only women. This was very controversial on certain gaming/movie sites, and you know that there are many who see this as a serious offense to the original movie. I'll be honest, I didn't care much about the series and this feminist, female-centered reboot. I have zero interest. My feelings about it is that it summarizes a terrible lack of creativity in Western media, such as movies and also comic books, which have been doing similar things. With reinventing superheroes that were men as women, I think it shows a lack of original stories, and in my experience, almost all of these reboots were terribly written and directed, which only confirms my suspicions. So, to summarize, I will be avoiding it, and it also lowers my opinion of the medium in general. That's just how I feel. That's the end of my letter. Sorry if it's too long. I haven't written in weeks, so I thought I would try to write something substantial. Hope you have a nice day. Well, thank you for writing, and the day is nice compared to some others I've been having. So far, so good. And thank you for writing, and thank you for your experimentation with those energy drinks. That's courageous of you to do. I never recommend you do that again. It's very dangerous, but you certainly got to try out the whole market in one sitting. Let's go on to the next one. Let's see what we got here. I was looking around how to get a hold of your fan mail, and this is what I found. I remember seeing your page a couple years ago and laughing it off, not thinking very much of it. I just recently saw the Tosh.0 episode that included you, a great segment by the way. I discovered your subreddit, and it has since gotten me back into your channel. I missed a lot clicking away that time a couple years ago. I appreciate your channel and its content because, to me, it is something YouTube was made for. A solid idea and great execution of the idea. Also, you add a very personal element to your reviews, that makes even non-fast food eaters enjoy them. You're truly one of the best YouTube channels. Because of this, you are what YouTube set out to create. I think it's remarkable for all these years you've stayed true to your original idea and haven't changed anything about you or your show. Someone will find this long after we're gone and appreciate your commitment, your content, and your originality. Now, that being said, I saw you say you do this channel as a full-time job, and to answer your other questions, which are, I'll just have to take things as they come at this point. You know, there were a few things that came in that disrupted some of those plans, but right now I'm focusing on the channel, and you know, it's going so far so good, and you never know what opportunities it might lend, you know? Anyway, I think you do a great job showing that originality and commitment paying off. Even for me, a 20-year-old, a lot like yourself, it's a good influence to see someone so dedicated to something. Cheers. Well, thank you for writing. And glad you enjoyed the Tosh.0 segment, by the way. Hey there, Review Bra. To answer the Ghostbusters question, while I do admit the film simply does not look good based on the trailers, I think it may be getting a bit too much hate. As of maybe a month ago, the first trailer became the most disliked movie trailer on YouTube. Sure, the film may not look very good, but it's definitely not the worst trailer I've seen, and people wouldn't be freaking out so much if it weren't an adaptation of a beloved film of yesteryear. The only part that particularly bothered me was the way the film seems to be stereotyping the character of Leslie Jones, the only black buster on the team. First of all, she is the only one of the four that is not some sort of scientist, but rather she, quote-unquote, knows the streets. Why is it that the black lady can't be one of the book-smart ones? And secondly, it seems like that when trouble is about, she's going to go full, quote-unquote, sassy black Christian woman, for the sake of cheap comedy. Both of these facets lead me to believe that this may be a bit, for lack of a better word, problematic character. The only other thing I have to say about the trailer is that the ghost effects look pretty neat. Now, a question for you, Mr. Report of the Week. Have you ever considered going vegetarian, even temporarily? And while not a vegetarian myself, I have close friends who are, that enjoy it very much. I've even been thinking about giving it a shot myself. Hope you have a good evening. Cheers from Lucas. Thank you for writing, Lucas. I have not. Simply because I'm too much of a meat eater. I couldn't stop giving up burgers and juicy chicken wings and pepperoni pizza and bacon and all that good stuff. I couldn't. I'm sorry to say I couldn't do that. My diet, I'm a meat eater. I try to be omnivorous, but oftentimes I'm a carnivore. I eat meat. That's what I do. I put those canine teeth that I was born with to good use, but, you know, if anyone here listening is a vegetarian or a vegan, I appreciate it. And more power to you for staying strong and fighting those urges that I give into. Alright, we got a bunch more letters here in the YouTube inbox still. Let's see, we're at this one. Let's see how many more we got left. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. So we got about 25 letters to read still in the YouTube inbox. And then we have about the same amount to read combining the two emails. Rep Week Interview 1 and VORW Info. Getting a time check here. We're good. We're still looking good, going strong, so let's continue. Hello, Mr. Review Bra. I remember when people used to call me Dear Lecturer. That was a good title I like, too. One day we'll have to get back to that. Call me Dear Lecturer, you know. That's going back to 2014 right there. That's old school VORW. To answer your question about my thoughts and opinions regarding the Ghostbusters movie coming out soon, I do have hope for it. I always was a big fan of the Ghostbusters films, especially the second film. As a child, I remember we would get a Sunday newspaper in the mail. It would have the television guide in it. That'd have programming for that week. Yeah, I remember the TV guide. I'd always used to look at that, too. In the front of the booklet, that'd have the movies in alphabetical order. And I'd go straight to the G's to see if Ghostbusters 2 would be in the schedule for that week. And if I saw it, I knew that week would be glorious. So I was a fan of the Ghostbusters films, and when I saw the trailer, I have to be honest, I did feel a sense of dissatisfaction flow throughout my body. But I believe this might be a PR trick. It could be the filmmakers made two films. One film they knew we would hate and the other we would love. This would angry everyone, creating a big stir among the film-loving community. Some people might even say, I'm not going to see that. Looks stupid. And all these people would be fooled because they would walk into the theater and their minds would be blown not once but twice. Then again, Ghostbusters would be the king. Well, one could hope anyways. A loyal fan from Andrew. Thank you for writing, Andrew, and you brought back some of that nostalgia from good nostalgia from the good old days back in the early 2000s, and when they still had the newspaper there and the, I remember they don't do that anymore usually, but I remember when the TV guide would be in there and I'd pull it out. I'd want to see what was on. Speaking of nostalgia, this next writer here, I remember you from 2014. I do. I remember you. So thank you for sticking with us since 2014. Person writes, yeah, what up review brah, with some exclamation points. Or as my other messages usually go, hello Buttercup. I've again tragically fallen very far behind in VORWs. I'm currently on 108, when you asked the question about Christmas trees. I've never had a real Christmas tree in my house, but I adore real ones, and in a few places my city had massive Christmas trees that are erected in banks and malls. Unfortunately, I live in San Diego in Southern California, so it never snows, and I never feel quite proper during a Christmas time. As I get older, Christmas seems to just be another time rather than a very special holiday that has that holiday feel. At my house, we usually keep Christmas lights up all year. We live on a hill, so everyone has about an acre of land, so you don't have neighbors complaining or a homeowners association finding you or such things. Anyways, about a month ago, the Christmas lights are on for whatever reason. I thought it was Christmas, and I felt a little warm feeling in my chest for a moment, and had hoped that the next Christmas could be like all those childhood Christmases we all hold dear. Anyways, enough tragic meme stories. How are you doing? How's your day? That's all the questions I've got. I'll try to write in more and answer every question I can, and I'm sure it will result in me filling your inbox, but I was glancing over your more recent VORWs, and they seem to be super long and full of fan mail, so I'm guessing this is what you want. May your liver and kidneys prosper. Thank you for writing, and that conclusionary note is always one that I recall. May the liver and kidneys prosper, and may yours as well. Thank you for sticking with us for all these years. I know it's just 2 years, but still, it's granted to still be here listening since 2014. That's nice. And how am I doing? As I mentioned, at least off the computer, doing all right. Today it's been all right so far. Got up, got dressed, got a Monster Energy drink, and then I said I'm going to record VORW. So that's what I'm doing. It's 3:37 p.m. I've been up maybe for about an hour or two. But it's so far so good, and hopefully it'll be a good day today. I need one of those. And, hey, hopefully it'll be a good one. Yesterday wasn't that bad either. And keep those fingers crossed that it'll be a good day today, Thank you for writing. Dear Review Bra, hope you receive this message in time for the VORW show, and I'll be very glad to have it read aloud. I'm a long-time follower of your channel, but I've only recently begun to explore the VORW show, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. There's something great about it being on in the background, either during some study or when simply relaxing. This may be a bit of a long-winded message, but I'll try to keep it short. I wish to ask a fashion question, simply being, what are your opinions on cardigans, in particular of this design? And he includes a picture here. Hopefully you will remember to get that picture. You know, I prefer more of the Mr. Rogers style cardigans. You know, those types that are, I mean, you could look up Mr. Rogers, you'll see what he wore. You know. I prefer those types of cardigans mostly, just with the zipper or with the buttons. That's the type that I always preferred. That, I'm just not a fan of it. I don't like that particular style. I just think it's too... I don't like the shawl collar that's on the back, and I don't like that thick knitting on it. Nor am I really too fond of the buttons either on it. I actually, as a Christmas gift, years ago, I got one of these cardigan sweaters in this exact style, and before even the new year came, I took that thing and I sold it, and got rid of it. Very impolite, you may say, but I didn't like it. I was never going to wear it. Reeked of cigarette smoke, and I said, I'm not going to wear it. He says, I find thick woolen cardigans to be quite comfortable, and sometimes they can work well with a nice shirt or tie, but that might be my terrible sense of fashion. I find the skinnier and more slimming cardigans unattractive and prefer the thicker woolen variety. Secondly, of all, I know one of your hobbies is shortwave radio, which can be seen as quite a traditional one. I was wondering what you think of hobby modeling, which can be seen as an old pastime. I myself enjoyed constructing model kits of either planes or boats, and find that they are quite satisfying and can ensure an entertaining day, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. As always, I enjoy your content and look forward to new videos. They're refreshing and just downright entertaining. Please take care of yourself. I wish you all the best. Sincerely, Edward. Well, thank you for writing, Edward. And, in terms of hobby modeling, something I've never done before, but I think it can be interesting. I used to enjoy, and I still do enjoy, the little Legos, where I used to make some of the little sets of all those Legos and everything, and do that. So I guess that's kind of like a similar thing. You kind of build it, and it's kind of fun to build, and then when you have it, you have the finished product you can look at, you can admire, you can display it, you can do whatever you want with it. I think that's pretty cool. Dear Report of the Week, I'd like to start this message by stating I would have sent a letter, but I can't afford stamps. I used to watch you back when you posted on Face Punch, and I now see that you are a big boy, making leaps and bounds with your community growing each day. Your videos gave me an ASMR effect, and needless to say, I watched all your videos in 3 days. Keep doing what you're doing, and one of these days I might just hit that red subscribe button. Papa bless. From Sean. Question 1, if you could be in any cartoon, what would it be? And Spongy Bubble, right? That's what they call it? You know what I'm talking. The one on Nickelodeon. And what struggles do you face doing Report of the Week? I enjoy making the content itself, but sometimes some aspects of the community can cause you problems here and there, but you adapt and overcome, and you just get over it and keep moving forward. Shout outs, my boy Angelo, and Harambe, a gorilla taken from us too soon. Shout it out, they have been. Hello again. This is my second time I have written to you. This time I have another question for you. on your channel you have 3 types of videos: your food reviews, your energy drink reviews, and my personal favorite, VORW. I'm sure you have pondered other ideas for a series, and I wondered if you would like to share any concepts that have not come to fruition just yet. Might be nice for you to gather feedback and suggestions from your listeners on these ideas and maybe mound a solid concept. I also attached a small piece of fan art for you to use in your next VORW. Thank you for your time, and here's the fan art. The Cray Bras, London, England, 1966. Yeah, it's interesting, very interesting there. I like how you got the heads on like that. Very interesting. Good Photoshop right there. I've been thinking about different things. I've been thinking maybe of doing a series of instructional videos. Maybe seeing how that works out. How to tie a tie. Different talk about suits, what's popular today. Because even though my suits aren't in style, I know what's fashionable today. Talk about traditional suits, different suits, how I wear my suits. Maybe do videos about overcoming different problems, some of the things I've had to go through with this channel, advice for other YouTubers and whatnot, and maybe do something along those lines. And those are just some ideas right there. Thank you for writing. Hey man, really like the videos, you have a nice style. Don't you change. I know sometimes people might try to give you a hard time, but pay no mind. You'll be alright, friend. Well, thank you for writing, and thank you for that advice there. Let's continue onward, and let's see what else we have to read. I'm just briefly checking the weather. I hear some more thunder coming in. Let's see, are these thunderstorms going to hit this time around? Alright. Let's see. Yeah, looks like it. Looks like these thunderstorms are going to hit, but hey, let's get a thunderstorm VORW going. How about that? Yeah, these thunderstorms, they say, gonna hit in a few minutes. Excuse me, I see, I gotta check something outside. Hold on. Stand by. Sorry about that. Yep, we're recording. Good. I heard something outside, and I just had to make sure it was all good. I didn't realize this until very recently, but this recorder actually comes with a pause feature. So I can just pause it if something comes up and then just resume it without having to make any edits or anything. It's awesome. So I can hear the rumbles of thunder growing louder. And let's continue on with the messages and letters. Dear Report of the Week, I love your reviews and have recently started listening to VORW, which is very pleasant to fall asleep to. I find the almost muffled timbre of that format very comfy and pleasing on the ear. Though it's probably not good that I need noise to sleep, I very quickly find myself bored of silence. Perhaps you can call me a product of the modern age. At least VORW gives me something without any radical changes in volume or tinny sounds that irritate the ear. I have a request, and it sounds unreasonable, but simply want to make it known. I'm English, and as much as I enjoy your reviews, I find it hard to relate to your exclusively American brands. I'd love if you can do a tour of British food change. If the airfare provides a barrier, perhaps you can do some research into which brands both of our nations share. Whatever you do, keep doing what you do. Best wishes from me. And, sent a second message in regards to Ghostbusters. P.S. I haven't seen the Ghostbusters, but don't hear very good reviews about it. Frankly, it seems like a pointless rehash of something that worked a particular cast together, and made something with a particular feel to it. The most immediately striking difference is the reversal of genders, which seems like an appeal to the insane degree that feminism has come in the past decade, and the result hasn't even been lauded by feminists themselves, so I'm not optimistic. Well, thank you for writing, and it would be fairly easy to research and, do a little bit of book work and kind of find out what brands are the best and what are both, shared between the UK and the US, and what have you. This individual politely mentioned that I might have missed their message, and that's perfectly understandable. Thank you for your politeness, and I shall read it right now. Hello, Report of the Week. Hope my formatting and language suffices, as I'd like to impress you as much as possible. You're pretty cool. I found your channel on my suggested because I watched Joey's World Tour and some other food reviewing colleagues of yours. At first, your formal attire threw me off guard. A young male wearing a suit and eating Long John Silvers? He must be some sort of pretentious, self-righteous nerd. But as I watched more of your videos and listened to some VORW and whatnot, I became more and more interested in you. I just watched your 2016 Average Day video, and I heard that you did shoutouts. My girlfriend and I love your quality content, and wanted to know if you could give us, Megan and Jaden, a shoutout with some of your favorite pointless facts spliced in. Keep up the amazing work. I love to watch your videos and share them with the person most dear to me. Don't let the negative Nellies keep you down. And if you ever so happen to be toasted, know that you have May as well as other dedicated fans' support. I hope your tooth gets better and keep munching on those tendies. Well, thank you for writing, and thank you for that. And yes, of course, I'll be happy to give a shout out to you and your girlfriend. So, Megan and Jaden, you have an official, very formal, and reiterating once more, a very official shout out. From the Report of the Week here on VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week, my friends, you have been shouted out. Dear Review Bro, this is the first time I'm typing a message to another YouTuber, so I don't really know what to say other than you are one of my favorite YouTubers. I love the food reviews, energy drink reviews, and the oddball reviews, smoothies, drinks, especially the water review. However, your VORWs are my favorite videos of all time. Something about them just helps me fall asleep easier, and keep up the great work, Review Bra. Thank you for taking your time to read this message. With best regards, from Dylan, who goes by the Throbbing Turtle, of all things. Thank you for writing. I'm looking outside the window right now, and I'm seeing the rain coming down pretty steadily now. An afternoon thunderstorm, 4 o'clock on the button, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Breaking the heat, perhaps. Breaking the very hot and humid day it was today. And that said, let's continue on with another letter. Hey, I have a few questions. Question 1, do you believe in the existence of extraterrestrials? If so, what do you think they would be like, and how would humanity's meeting of them go down? I believe extraterrestrial creatures do exist, though I don't know if they are as people envision them to be. I believe life out there of course, does exist. But I think what's happened is I think most life people might witness are not the standard big-headed aliens with the big eyes and the little flying saucer going around. I think rather most people... I think life out there mostly would be just small little blobs and little worms and different types of little creatures floating or flying or swimming around. Very small, simple-minded animals and creatures that just are very different from us. And I think there'd be just very unintelligent species, but I think there is other intelligent life out there as well. But have they ever visited Earth? that I may debate. Who can say, though? There's some people who say they've seen things in the sky. There's people who filmed things in the sky. And, who's to say they adamantly believe what they've seen? I've never seen or experienced any of that, but who's to say? Same thing with Bigfoot or, other cryptoid creatures, right? Who's to say? You never know. You just don't know. Question 2. I know you don't watch many movies, but do you like ones from the 80s? It's my favorite era. And if you haven't seen many, perhaps you'll kind of love the art form. And 3, have you seen Bill Hicks's speech on life? If not, I provided a link, and I'd be interested to know if you agree with him. Hope you are having a great, or at least tolerable day. Some 80s movies are great, real classic films. As I said, I'm not a movie buff. I very seldom watch movies, but they can be good. They can be good. And I've not seen his speech on life, but I'll gladly watch it, and it'll be interesting to see. He also mentions, in regards to my last message, I forgot to cite an example of 80s awesomeness. I'd recommend The Breakfast Club, about 5 people from different high school cliques stuck in detention who slowly bond. Also Revenge of the Nerds, which has a killer synth soundtrack. I don't think YouTube will allow you to play it, sadly. I thought they would, but again, thank you for those links. And yeah, The Breakfast Club and Revenge of the Nerds, 2 very classic movies there. Another writer reaches us, who's also been with us since 2014. Glad to see there's still some of the original crew sticking around. Hey, Review Bra. To answer the last VORW question, I will probably not see the Ghostbusters movie, because I'm not a huge fan of the franchise overall, but the trailer from the new one makes it look like a slapstick, wacky movie, when the original relied on dry and witty dialogue. I won't see this one, just like I didn't see the remakes of RoboCop and Total Recall. I believe in having your say with your wallet. I hope others won't support these cash grabs as well. Could you read the following quote as a birthday greeting to a friend? It would mean a lot. Thank you so much. You're the best. Yeah, sure. Alright, this comes from this letter. Quote unquote. Happy birthday, Darth. Hope your day is filled with liquor and holomotter jokes. May your Swede cuck car run forever, and your birthday have a rating of 9.5 out of 10. Only because I don't give 10 out of 10s. Being 23 is what it is. Everything is there. Birthday greetings to this Darth character. Thank you for writing. Dear Review Bra, in response to your question in the latest episode of VORW, I would say that based on the trailer, the new Ghostbusters movie looks woeful. However, I've never had an interest in the Ghostbusters franchise, so would not be interested in watching it, even if I was sticking to the original. I have only begun watching your channel in the last few days, and I must say that I am enjoying it. I found your channel as a screenshot of your water comparison video, which became a meme on Twitter. I want to ask you about the effects of social isolation that come with not having a conventional job that involves working with others, such as your wonderful work as a solo food critic. I myself aspire to work as a translator in the future, and I've heard that many translators work from home and have little interaction with other people. As a man who enjoys solitude, this appeals to me, but I also am worried that I could isolate myself in this line of work. How do you find working from home and alone? And do you have any advice on maintaining one's sanity whilst doing so? Apologize if this message appears disorganized and rambly, but it's 2 a.m. I'm about to go to sleep. And sincerely, the first-time writer, Rory from England. Thank you for writing, Rory. And even though it's, not a conventional line of work, what I do, I just try to focus on, number one, of course, there's the community in shows like VORW, but more importantly, I just try to focus on, my family. My family, those closest to me, those that I love and care about, and that are in my life, and really just communicate with them. They keep me going also, and really just spend time with them, and that I enjoy. So that's one thing that I that I try to do in that regard specifically. Alright, let's continue on here. Let's see what the next message is. Oh, this one. From another famous writer. My dear review bra, what I despise are the ones like me whose letters are so obvious. Take Z-AC, for example. He opens with crude explanations of his midnight wanderings. Now, fish I admire. A1B3R7 had style, and we are quite similar. The B-K was a fool, allowing to be caught thanks to his flash drive. I suppose the dear boss was the first. Got to admire an original. I wonder why we are so eager to tell of our exploits, our collections. Are we tired of the chase, or just want to connect to something other than the meat? The tang and metallic echo and the swing? Oh, I know you have not this scrubble. You never did. You are infallible. But the chesty nest of us, review bra, gives us pause, O great one. Why am I in such a reflective mood? Toot toot. Perhaps I am finally complete. A pocket protector? Protector? There is no more putrefaction. The stitches are healed. I've made new friends who gave me so much that I can swim freely. My dorsal fin is new and fresh, donated by a sweet young nectarine, an urchin, no one to be missed. If I had done what I had did, she would not have been remembered, but I remember. Your listeners disgust me. Of every breath of my sac, frothing bile builds up at the thought of their insipid pulsing veins clinging to a life they do not deserve. I retch at them, rage from the pit of my nethers all the way up and back down the stank tube. No gas to expel the polluted concept that these creatures exist. I have had enough. I must take another. Thank you for showing me the way. A poem. 4 scabs, 1 on each chin. Jason, Ben, Billy, and Meg. She fell and ruptured her cod basket. Now all the goats and moats float because the stench gives them a winter coat. I miss being able to call Leroy by his stripper name. Thank you for showing me the way from Orca Man. Thank you for that eloquent and beautiful message, Orca Man. Thank you for that. Wonderful as always. Let's see what we have here. 1, 2, 3, and 4 letters so far left in the YouTube inbox. Hello again. Hoping this note finds you in good spirits and your summer has started well. Can't remember if you messaged this or not. Mentioned this or not, I'm sorry. But did you resolve the dental issues? They're getting resolved. They're in the process. The one tooth, the temporary filling is holding well, and they put some amalgam fillings in the others. I'll be seeing them in about a month or two again, and we'll take it from there. But so far, so good. I still have the Oragel just in case the pain continues, but it hasn't. A small rant. I think I may have been much happier before I became sensitive to fashion, but it's hard to watch the report of the week and not be struck by the contrast between your sartorial choices and what the average citizen dons. Working in retail, I'm blessed with a steady stream of examples of what constitutes basic dress for a lot of people. It strikes me as odd that more fundamental care is not taken. It probably indicates how out of step I am with mainstream culture, and perhaps I just need to paste that happy customer service smile on my face and get over it, but seriously. WTH, people. The summer brings extra joy of being handed money that has just been retrieved from rather inappropriate places because the outfit has no pockets. Ladies, just no. Or at least extract it from your tops before you come to the counter. My job is soul-crushing enough without you adding that visual to it. Thanks for letting me rant. As always, please know you provide me with a much-needed public service to downtrodden shift workers who have to decompress after another wonderful 8 hours of dealing with the public. Insert appropriate expletive here. As always, Jackie. Well, thank you for writing, Jackie. And, sorry you have to go through that. I imagine that can be quite a pain to have to deal with and suffer through. Dear the Report of the Week, it's been a while since I've written, so apologies for that. I've been meaning to make these write-ins monthly, but work has been keeping me very busy. Hope you're well and things haven't been too stressful. Catching up on your videos, I noticed a new influx of viewers of the usual trash. Yeah. Don't let those negative comments get you down. You have more charisma and personality than they have in 1/10 of their body. Your reviews are great, and so are you. Well, that's it, I suppose, but one last thing before I go. Got any new suits? Recently, an American friend brought us some gifts. My husband's was a 1980s Palo Gucci men's burgundy silk horsebit tie. Any thoughts? Thanks for the time, and thank you for writing. And I got a few new acquisitions. I had that one black suit I was mentioning earlier. Got that in June. I also got a dark blue single-breasted wide lapel suit. And I also got that, that tannish yellow checkered Ralph Lauren blazer. It was also good. So I got 3 new acquisitions, which aren't bad. All of them were good, and I'm enjoying all of them very thoroughly so. And I think that sounds good, especially if it's an 80s tie, especially silk also. That's a good material for neckwear. I approve of it. Usually the 80s ties are a bit wider, too. I always like that. And, thank you for writing. Hey, you should try out the McDonald's new lobster roll. I've been thinking about trying it, but I get a little nervous, and maybe you could give an old-fashioned review and give it a go. Thanks from Jack. Thank you for writing, Jack. And, I'd love to try it. The problem is that I don't think they have it in this location. I know a lot of McDonald's in the New England area, like Maine and what have you, have the lobster roll. But I'm not sure if the ones over here do. I went to McDonald's. I wanted to get their Bacon Clubhouse burger to review. They didn't even know what it was, so I have a little hope. Nor did I see a lobster roll on the menu. Okay. That's what we've got here in the inbox for now. Let's just refresh the page and let's see if there's anything that we missed. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, that wraps up all the letters that we have in the YouTube inbox. There were 2 that were still there, but they were not for the VORW show. They were just other miscellaneous pieces. With that said, we have plenty more to read. We have a lot in the Rep Week Interview 1 address. Let's see what we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19 letters in VORW, or Rep Week Interview 1, and a few in VORW Info. We're going to get through them all right here on VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. Hello, Father. I refuse to see the new Ghostbusters. Firstly, because I am generally against the trend of Hollywood remakes. I think they're pointless and 99% of the time are terrible. They're just money grabs with no artistic value or point that exploit people's nostalgia for past films and franchises. I'd much prefer a sequel to an old film than a remake. We've already seen the story before. What's the point in retelling it a few years later, but with less artistic integrity? Secondly, it looks terrible. From the 2 trailers released, the humor seems abysmal. No subtlety or charm, like the original, just loud shouting and slapstick, which is not funny, nor is it the style of Ghostbusters at all. Seeing a big, flat fat black woman slapping someone in the face whilst shouting like a lunatic is not good comedy. Not is it Ghostbusters. I'm not saying every joke has to be a masterpiece of wit or subtlety. Far from it, in fact. However, the style of humor reminds me of Adam Sandler movies. I don't think I need to elaborate more than that. Additionally, the cast does not include a single funny comedian nor a skilled actor. Finally, I must address the elephant in the room. The gimmick of replacing the main cast with women. I see absolutely no point in this other than to try to appeal to the latest feminist and social justice trend. It's only been done so they can scream about girl power and not for any other reason. I won't rant about this aspect of the film anymore because I'm sick of everyone talking about it, but you can probably guess the sort of things I would say anyways, as everyone has already said everything that needs to be said a million times before. I might pirate the film, though. I get to see how bad it is without giving the creators any of my money, which they will not deserve. To answer the question about social media addiction, I would say I'm not addicted. I spend a lot of time on it, but it's just because I have nothing more interesting to do, and because I need it to talk to my friends and girlfriend. I am, however, addicted to using the computer in general. I just spend too much time on it. Here's something I've been meaning to ask you. In August, I'm going to be visiting my girlfriend who lives in America. What would you say would be the most important fast food restaurants to visit whilst I am here? In the UK, we have McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, and that's pretty much it. Are there any other fast food places you review that are not found here, and which ones should I visit? Additionally, what other things should I do to get a genuine, proper, authentic American experience while I am in the USA? Thank you. And thank you for writing. And he also has a short follow-up. Thank you for returning. As per my request a few VORWs ago, Orca Man, please write in more regularly. We love you and miss you. Do you wish for a fish sacrifice to summon you again? From Josh. Well, thank you, Josh, and maybe this Orca Man fellow will heed your request. Who's to say? But as for the fast food, one place I really recommend you go to is Popeyes. It's a chicken place. You're gonna see, there's KFCs everywhere. I just recommend you go to Popeyes. You got KFC over there. Try Popeyes. I highly recommend it. I love their chicken. It's awesome. It's excellent. I highly recommend that. And if you really want a true American experience, you gotta get a burger. Go to an establishment, if you can find one, called Steak and Shake. That's steak, the letter N, Steak in Shake. See if there's anywhere you're going to be. Maybe you'll get lucky and there will be one, and if there is, go to it, get a burger. If not, go to a local establishment, go to a local diner, local restaurant, and just get a burger, That's the best thing to do. On to the next letter. I switched my drink in the meantime to water now. I'm going with some cool, not iced, but just cool water. Healthier alternative. Hi, Report of the Week. Thought I'd start by saying that I did like the sound of the last VORW with the older microphone, although I listened on a large speaker, so I didn't have the headphone issues some others experience. Also thought the questions and feedback were really entertaining. The episode is also in reruns on my listening queue. I did hope you'll be reading the latest edits on your story Regression of Life, but perhaps that'll be saved for another day. As far as the last question on the new Ghostbusters movie, I watched the trailer, and although I'm generally in favor of throwing every single special effect you can get your hands on at a screen, I doubt I'll be seeing this one. Seems like a good enough summer entertainment, but I usually prefer movies that cause me to examine my soul and question the very meaning of life, possibly even the memory of which can cause one to burst into spontaneous existential tears while standing in line at the grocery store. A little less green goo is also a good thing. As usual, I have a question for you. If you were to choose your own first name, what would it be? Although I think your current name suits you perfectly, let's assume you're not allowed to stick to it. By that I mean the name John, although I think Report of the Week suits you very well too, as does Review Bra. Anyway, if you had to choose and it couldn't be any of those, and why would you choose it? I used to like the sound of my first name, but lately I've been becoming quite tired of it. Too much trouble to change it, but I've often thought that life would be much different if I were called something else. I've always liked the name Alexander, for whatever reason. I always like that name. Why, I don't know, I just like the way it sounds. My second question is on an entirely different subject, but it's been that kind of a day. I'd like to know your feelings regarding higher education. I attended college because it was expected of me, and although I eventually graduated, there were several interruptions in the process when life took some unexpected turns. I've never made a cent in my field of study, which was English Lit, but I did enjoy reading, so it wasn't a total loss. It seems there are so many good opportunities now for self-education that the whole formal and very expensive classroom college thing might be a thing of the past. Personally, I think that would be a good thing, providing one has the discipline for it. I know several people who will be starting college in the fall, and given the social climate on so many campuses today, I can't say I'm confident it'll be an enlightening experience for them, or maybe it will, but not in the way their parents are hoping. Wishing you a good day and a good week from PS, and yes, I'm back to using my initials. Please refer to paragraph 3, which I did. And thank you for the picture there. I like it. I really like the painting there on the right there next to the dartboard. That's awesome. And the and the umbrellas. That's awesome. Another excellent piece of work. And yeah, in terms of higher education, I think at this point in time, it's really, I'll go as far as to say in many ways it's a scam. It's a necessity in many cases, but it's a scam. They're charging, most people going with daddy's money, and and what you sit there, you're gonna forget most of the stuff you learn in a few years, just so you can get a slip of paper that now the boss will hire you just because of this slip of paper. But it's a very expensive thing. I completely approve of self-education, but a lot of people wanting to get certain jobs still need that little slip of paper from the university proving they blew tens of thousands of dollars in 4 years of their life at least. Just to earn this piece of paper, but it's a very interesting little system we got going, and could it be done without it? Absolutely, but again, if people were willing to self-educate, be disciplined, and educate themselves in the things that matter most, and that would positively impact their lives to the greatest extent, perhaps the world would even be a better place. But hey, right, one can dream. One can still self-educate now. It's granted, it's very possible. Hello, Lecturer Review Bra. My first question is, why don't people call you Lecturer anymore? I've been listening to a lot of your VORW broadcasts recently while I've been delivering pizzas, and I started with the earliest VORWs, and it seemed like there's a brief period where fans are calling you Lecturer. Yeah, I know, I mentioned that earlier, too. I thought it was a great title, and I wish people, that was a great title, Lecturer, dear Lecturer. It is a great title. Awesome if we can go back to those days. Thought it was a great title in my opinion, because that is truly what you are. You've helped me through many difficult times and experiences in my life, and for that I'm truly thankful. I believe you're the same age as me. I'm amazed you have such wisdom for someone who's only lived 20-something years. I'll end this message with a short poem. I'm doing this because after listening to some of your latest VORWs, I've gotten the vibe that you are interested in literature, and are writing of it. This is a very common and short poem by Emily Dickinson, and if you'd please read it, and if you'd like give an interpretation of it, It would make me a very happy person, sincerely. Well, the unfortunate part of that, and if you're listening, the problem was that it wasn't attached, so there was no poem given, but if you could, there's always the next show, you can feel free to write in there and send it in for that. Hello, happy 4th of July, hope you're doing well. Thanks for continuing to do the VORWs despite a broken microphone. I really appreciate your dedication to the fans. In response to this listener question, I figured I might as well write in an all-caps rant, since you said it was okay. Now, in all caps, begin rant. Personally, I will not be seeing the new Ghostbusters film, and my opinion of it is apathetic to extremely negative. I strongly dislike movie remakes, reboots, reimaginations, etc., especially remakes of classic films that I loved as a child and still love. And yes, to get to the controversial aspect of the film, I find it incredibly off-putting and pathetic how this new quote-unquote film felt the need to have women as the main characters. There's nothing wrong as having women as main characters. There have been great women characters in movie, yet it is clearly apparent from the trailers of this film that the women characters in this film will be horribly typecast and obnoxious. That joke the black lady says when she jumps into the crowd and no one catches her, and she asks if it's a quote-unquote lady thing or a quote-unquote race thing is just stupid. It is really, honestly sad that this is what is considered humor in the current year, 2016. The rest of the film's humor looks like it'll be full of cliches or your basic, raunchy women's comedy. I guess some people will find that appealing, but personally I'm a fan of good old Bill Murray et al. And the ability to just have the natural charisma enough to be funny. Well, that's my little rant. I've been enjoying the cinema-related questions. Keep them up. Quick questions for you. Maybe we'll discuss this in the general part of the show, but what do you usually do for the 4th of July? And what did you do this 4th of July? And thanks. Take care. Thank you for your rant. And just letting the opinions flow. It's fine by me. If anyone, you have those opinions, contradictory opinions, I don't care. Just let them flow. You have your right to exercise them. That's what I asked for, and that's what we're getting, and it's awesome to see the people so strongly about this matter. Very interesting, and very nice to see the wide range of opinions and different reasons why people dislike the film. For the 4th of July, I don't usually do much. I'll sometimes watch a fireworks display, be it from a local source or sometimes on television, and get a pizza or a burger or something, some fast food. Just a good meal to enjoy the 4th with and kind of sit back, relax, listen to the radio, Hello, Review Bra. Hope you're doing well. First and foremost, I wanted to thank you for giving my girlfriend a shout-out in the last VORW. She really appreciated it. I also wanted to mention I very much enjoyed your peanut butter and M&M Dairy Queen review. I'm from Europe. We don't have Dairy Queen here, so I thought it was interesting to see your opinion on their Blizzard's ice cream, because in general, I always thought Dairy Cream ice cream looked like overglorified McFlurries. As for the question this week, I too watched a trailer for the new Ghostbusters movie, and I think the first thing that I noticed was what everyone else noticed. The Ghostbusters are now all female. And I understand this is a topic of much controversy, and before I talk about this, I want to make it clear that there is nothing wrong with women playing the roles of Ghostbusters. However, they evidently do not portray them well, and play a big role in sucking the life out of a once great movie. I wasn't expecting the remake to be great anyways. Remakes of movies generally aren't all that good, but when I saw this, I couldn't help but feel annoyed at the producers for doing this. This is a blatant political sentiment thrown into a movie that shouldn't have to do with politics. The fact that they are female isn't wrong, but it isn't in line with or in the spirit of the old Ghostbusters movies. Aside from them not being very good actors in the first place, it doesn't make sense to have the characters of the Ghostbusters female. They were never female in any of the previous movies, so why did they decide to make it female now, other than to make an unnecessary socio-political statement? This is a crime by the producers, as they should know that if men and women truly are equal, it shouldn't be a factor in deciding who should play the Ghostbusters. They should just choose who will play the role best, and who would help accurately recreate the feeling the old movies gave us. When we watched them, in this case, I think they knew men did a far better job at this. Aside from that, which seems to be one of the main reasons why it's receiving such negative feedback, the trailer looks like a bland special effects fest of bad acting and unfunny and repetitive humor. I can assure you I won't be wasting my time and money to watch this atrocity either. Live long and prosper and keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much for writing, and my pleasure to shout you both out, and thank you for your statement. On to the next. Dear John, to answer your question regarding Ghostbusters, I have no intention on seeing the film, as the humor in the trailer didn't appeal to me very much. However, I have no strong opinions about it overall, and I don't fully understand the level of vitriol that has arisen. The decision to have an all-female team is, to me, nothing especially controversial, and is at worst a gimmick to bring in a female audience, although speaking personally, as a woman, this would neither attract nor put me off seeing it. Now for some comments. What kind of contact have you had with other YouTube food reviewers, and how did it go on each occasion? I'm aware you're on good terms with Spicy Carl Assessment, and you've alluded to the ever-glorious Joey's World Tour having messaged you at some point. You're the only food reviewer I watch on the regular, but I was recently made aware of something called CraveCon, which is a convention for online food reviewers, and it made me think about your relationship to others in the same business. Whilst I can't imagine conventions being something that appeal to you, were you ever invited? And I was not. Had no idea that that happened, that existed. But no, I don't really contact the other food reviewers. They don't contact me. Back in 2013, I talked to Joey, and he was friendly. He was a real nice guy back then. But that was it. Otherwise, we just keep to ourselves, and, there isn't any sort of union of reviewers or anything. It's just, we just, keep to ourselves, and that's what we do. And to quote DJ Khaled, I guess that's his name. People talk about this guy all the time. I don't know if it's DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled. Do you ever swear off camera? And if so, under what circumstances and how often? Very rarely. I mean, if something very pressing matter comes up, I'm not going to stop myself, but I try not to. But especially on camera, that's something I normally refuse to do. I just don't think it's a way of managing the channel with any sort of dignity. I think it's possible to incorporate, something, one video on YouTube where someone's not swearing like crazy. In light of all the poetry you've been reading on the show lately, I've attached an image of a grave from 1825, and isn't it entirely legible of the photo, but it reads, "Here lies John Higgs, a famous man for killing pigs. For killing pigs was his delight, both morning, afternoon, and night. Both heats and colds he did endure, which no physician could e'er cure. His knife is laid, his work is done, I pray to heaven his soul is gone. Many thanks." And thank you for that message, and for the poem there. Thank you for writing. On to the next. Here we go, from Liam. Bit of a late email coming in, so I hope it reaches you in time. I think a lot of your fan base would answer this week's question the same, and I'll follow suit. I will most likely not be adventuring to see the new Ghostbusters remake. I think this stems from the fact that I'm very much against remakes and reboots of movies. This new edition is definitely not needed, and I'll most likely produce a non-memorable 2-hour-long cash grab of a film. Though this is my only opinion. Recently I've been waking up at 8 a.m. to my radio alarm, and I have a channel set to a station for the blind. So instead of regular talk-back, pop music, miscellaneous radio show, the particular station I tune reads out the day's newspapers, TV guides, and simulcast BBC news breaks. Finding this channel is very refreshing. My question for you this week is, would you consider adding a world news segment to your VORWs? Geopolitics and general world news stories is something I'm very interested in. I think your voice and style would fit reading some of the week's stories. As always, thank you for the hard work. Regards, Liam. Well, thank you for writing, Liam. I'm just looking up something right now. I'm just seeing if this was on Shortwave. They were. There was a station, actually, that was on Shortwave until 2010 or so. That was for the blind. It was called the Radio Reading Service. They were called the Radio Reading Service. They were out of New Zealand. And they were broadcast on 3935 kilohertz shortwave. And I imagine it was very much the same. They would read books. They would read, read different newspapers and what have you. And it was the Radio Reading Service, but they went off the air, sadly. But I imagine that would have been a great station to listen to also. Kind of would have been able to listen to that on shortwave. I don't usually get political on the VORWs, but, world news is a fun thing, and I've been really keeping track of it lately. I've heard about that attack in Paris with the truck, where the guy mowed down 84 now, they said. And I'm surprised the Islamic State hasn't claimed responsibility for that one. Donald Trump, of course, selected Mike Pence as VP. Some Cold Springs firefighters are hospitalized in a crash on Interstate 25 in Colorado. They're helping battle Colorado wildfire. Of course, there's also Eric Garner's daughter, who said ABC silenced her during a race symposium with Obama. And some more updates of the Dallas gunman regarding his honorary discharge and why exactly that happened. But that was just a little brief world news recap of some top stories right there. But I used to do world news back in 2014, late 2014. I used to do that. I used to do that on the VORW show, so it's nothing new. Then I stopped it for a while, but I think it could be something interesting to do again. I think so. On to the next. Hey there, review brother. Here's a little picture depicting two of my favorite personalities and a cat. Hope you like it, sir. By the way, will the VORWs be returning to iTunes? I've got a backlog of 3 episodes to listen to, but I can't listen at my computer. Take care from Paul. Well, thank you for writing, Paul. And that's awesome right there. There you go. Painting the picture of me and the cat there, and the kitten. I like it. And, will it be returning to iTunes? The world may never know, because I don't really manage the iTunes one, so who's to say, but it hopefully should be. Hello, Mr. Review Bra. I sent you another message through the YouTube messaging, so consider this one a follow-up. Sorry to send a separate message, but there isn't a way to send fan mail to YouTube, so I have to do it through email. If you wouldn't mind, would you consider giving Lucy Penny, a friend of mine, who got me into your channel, a shout-out? I'm sure she would appreciate it. Thanks so much from Steve. P.S. I made a picture for you, as if you were in a virtual novel-style game. It's a little silly, but I hope you like it. And certainly, Lucy Penny, you have been officially and formally shouted out by the Report of the Week here on VORW. You have been shouted out. And yes, that's the picture right there of the as if it were like a game of some sort. Very interesting. Hello, hope you're having a fantastic day today. I wanted to say that I love every aspect of your videos. I've been watching for about 2 or 3 years now, and I've come to ask, have you ever thought of reviewing Baja Blast? Personally, I love the exclusive drink. It's only on sale every now and then. I'm not exactly sure how you feel about Mountain Dew, but I prefer Baja Blast to the classic Mountain Dew. I know one time I posted on your subreddit about a year ago asking if you'd review Chick-fil-A, and you ended up doing so a couple months later, because you had finally had access to the establishment. And that's from Peyton. Thank you for writing, Peyton. And, that's what we've got. Baja Blast. Might be an interesting drink review. We have the all too rare contradictory opinion here. So this person now has the floor. Greetings, Review Bra. To answer your question on the latest VORW, I will not pay to see the new Ghostbusters. The trailer was embarrassingly bad. Like others have already said, remakes aren't exciting. However, I have been pretty amused by all the outrage over the female cast. Do people really feel so persecuted over not being represented in the world's lousiest remake? I feel like some people, such as men's rights activists, in this case, will point to any small thing to prove whatever kind of phenomenon they've fantasized. I'm still laughing at the absurdity of the same people who tried to claim that Mad Max Road Fury alienated white men. Off topic. How do you feel about snack foods? What's your favorite? I'm partial to spicy nacho Doritos myself. And my boyfriend Aaron is a real fan of the Report of the Week. His birthday is coming up, and if you don't mind, I know he would love to be shouted out. Why, certainly. For snack foods, Lay's wavy potato chips are always a favorite of mine. They're always great. And, Lay's wavy have a great crunch, a great saltiness to them. That's always a great little thing to munch and snack on. And Aaron, happy birthday. If your birthday has already passed, happy belated birthday. And, hope it was a good one. Hope it will be a good one. And, Aaron, you have been very officially, very formally shouted out here on VORW by the Report of the Week, of course. We have 3, 6, 7 letters left here in the VORW, or the Rep Week Interview 1 email. And following that, we have a few left here in VORW email. Okay. Piece of listener mail from Brendan from Australia. I'm writing in to send my personal regards and thanks for your continued service, both on shortwave radio and online broadcasting of original, refreshing, and insightful content. I recently came across your channel whilst perusing late at night and came across your video TGI Friday's Crispy Chicken Wings review. I know not what prompted me to click the link for some reason, but I did. I was at first taken aback by your manner and presentation, and I was convinced that the video was, for all intents and purposes, a parody or a dry comedy bit. However, as the video progressed, I found myself quite intrigued. The imitatable style, the calm and assured voice, the dedication to honestly review the subject all made me want to keep watching. Of course, as most of your listeners can attest to, I found myself falling down the rabbit hole, so to speak. Video after video, each revealing an expanded set of interests and wide array of topics. It was so refreshing to listen to an announcer, particularly one on YouTube, with a more refined sense of the world, also one lacking in snobbery. Your discussion of topics ranging from fast food to shortwave, clothing to energy drink, entertainment to anxiety, makes your contribution to broadcasting unique, and I feel necessary. On the topic of shortwave, it was a delight to hear that you regularly listen to the iconic ABC National Radio, or Radio Australia, as it is known when broadcasting internationally. It's a quality station, our national broadcaster, and it is wonderful to know that listeners outside of Australia are getting an opportunity to enjoy its content. Yeah, it is. Believe it or not, I don't know if you listen to Shortwave or not, but ABC actually broadcasts to the Northern Territory of Australia on Shortwave. They have a Northern Territory service on via 3 transmitters, one in Alice Springs, one in Tennant Creek, and one in Catherine. And they rotate between several frequencies on 2325, 2485, 4835, 4910, and 5025 kilohertz in English and sometimes Aboriginal. They all have 50 kilowatt transmitters with non-directional antennas, so just beamed to Australia. But the other day, at an amazing distance of, almost 16,000 kilometers away, I was able to hear the station out of Alice Springs on 4835 kilohertz. And I was able to hear that station so far away with just 50 kilowatts. And just awesome what shortwave can do. It was just great to hear it, and it was just an excellent, amazing catch of shortwave and what you're able to hear. Thought that would be worth bringing up. He writes, unfortunately, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation received some drastic cuts to its funding under our current government, and I do fear that the days of the international broadcast are now numbered. On a side note, it was amusing to hear you humming the Radio National News theme during your Average Day 2015 video. It's an iconic piece of music named Majestic Fanfare has been used by the ABC National Radio on the hour, every hour, since the 1st of January 1952. In regards to the question in the last VORW show about the new Ghostbusters film, I have to say I'm somewhat apathetic, or at least nonplussed. I do agree that the trend of remaking films, classic or not, is a problem that needs to be addressed, but I feel that is not the real problem. The problem seems to be that it is an all-female cast. I cannot and do not see a problem with the casting. In fact, it's preferable to me and helps distinguish the new Ghostbusters as a separate chapter to the original rather than a new group of actors trying to reinvent or worse, impersonate the original. With that said, if you don't like it, don't buy a ticket to it. Studios respond most to the box office results, and vitriol on social media does nothing. That's just my take on it. All in all, my apologies on the length of this letter, but I do wish you all the best with your future broadcast. I will remain a loyal listener. Kind regards, Brandon. P.S. I'm not sure if this either product is available in the U.S., but Mother and V are the 2 top-selling energy drinks in Australia and New Zealand. If you ever get the chance, I'd be fascinated to hear your take on them. Well, thank you very much for writing, Brandon. Thank you for your letter and your knowledge on the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. On to the next. G'day, Review Bra. I'm not the first, nor will I be the last, to say I enjoy your content and makes my feeble existence more bearable than it might be otherwise. Regarding to your question on the new Ghostbusters film, I've not seen any of them since I was a little kid, but watching the trailer was unpleasant. Felt as if my brain was weeping, melting away. I particularly found myself squinting down the first half of the trailer. Suppose you can only look at the sun for too long. Perhaps I'm just easily unsettled and irritated. Alas, it's just another classic reboot, another movie, so it goes. Like you said, the trailer should principally showcase the best portions of the movie to the consumer. After all, it's the most base purpose of it, is to sell a product. Sense of humor, and with the trailer, is what I detest above all. I honestly don't think I could force a laugh or a smile if someone told me the stuff of the trailer's caliber. Not even out of pity. The movie reboot, it just exists to make money and profit off of fading nostalgia. I assume they'll water down everything down from the originals, just to appeal to the broadcast audience in order to maximize profit. And I suppose you can talk about the implications of the cast, but that's just overall unremarkable nowadays, for better or for worse. I suppose so is the movie. just another reboot in an ocean of others that have been and will continue to swell up more and more as the time goes. I'm curious as to whether or not you might have a particular historical era that you have interest in. Ultimately, thanks for taking the time to read my letter. Hope it had some direction. Take care, from Conrad. Well, thank you for writing, Conrad. I really, in terms of history, it's a couple hundred years, but really I enjoy history between probably 1750 and 1960. 1750 to 1960, both American and world history. And those eras were just, I enjoyed them. And probably my favorite eras to study right there, 1750 to 1950. This individual mentions the first time I caught wind of the new rebooted Ghostbusters movie, I was overcome by a wave of different emotions. On one hand, I was delighted to see a new comedy starring some of my favorite female comedians and actresses. On the other hand, I was vehemently and unreasonably furious they would reboot such a classic film that shaped my opinions of comedy at such a young age. The rapid recycling of classic and creative plot lines with pure abandon has me foaming at the mouth. Why ruin such a classic, quirky, and lovable story by injecting shameless plugs on social media, hospital visits, and morning show talks? There is no integrity in movie making any longer. Thanks for reading my letter. As always, your VORW shows continue to be a relaxing and interesting experience. Thank you for writing, and thank you for your comments on the film. And yeah, a lot of people are saying it's not gonna be what they're making it up to be. Thank you for writing again. And now we have 2 letters left in the Rep Week Interview 1 address, and following that we have several remaining in the VORW Info address. This person had a lot they didn't want to be read, but they do have 3 questions for this program. Question number 1, I think you talked in VORW about how things would have been so different for you if you hadn't started making your videos. Can you go into that a little bit? The fact of the matter is, it's just that my entire ideology would have been different. Yes, I would have been plagued and tormented by these groups, these coordinated efforts, and maybe would have been a little better for me. But at the same time, the way my life is right now, and the way things are, it would just be irrevocably different. I wouldn't have met the people that I had through this channel. I wouldn't have learned the things I did through this channel. Wouldn't have had any of those experiences, and it surely would have been a very different person as a result. Question 2, so obviously you aren't the average person. How has this affected you? I have a really hard time being around other people, so I do everything I can not to stand out. I admire you for being able to do and say what you want, and even put yourself out there on the internet for everyone to say what they will about you. What advice do you have for someone who doesn't have much confidence in who they are? Well, it's 50-50. You can be yourself, but you gotta be ready for the attacks. 'Cause it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. People are gonna hate you for who you are, and that's just how it is. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what you are, it doesn't matter, and none of that matters. You're gonna be hated, actually despised, just because you're different. That's how humanity is, that's how society functions, and that's just how it'll be. So you gotta be ready for it. Gotta be ready for it. Granted, it'll be on a smaller scale, but, it's still gonna happen anyway, so, you gotta get ready, and you gotta say, is it better to put yourself out there and have to deal with these constant attacks, or is it best to just lay low and hunker down and, be myself when no one's looking? See what makes you more comfortable. That's the best advice I can give you. But you gotta have a thick skin. It's a shame to say it shouldn't be like that, but it's how it is. And question 3, did you ever finish your story about the walk? I liked the beginning, but you didn't really get to the whole supernatural side of it at all. I'd love to see where it was going. I'm still in the process of writing that. I'm actually writing another story right now, believe it or not. Let's go to Google. Let me figure out what I titled this one. This one is based off of a dream that I had. I'm writing this story periodically. It's called, this isn't the permanent title, but I called it Fateful Immersion. Where a person is so immersed in menial things that they're completely distracted from what's going on around them, and the fact that the world around them is in a utter state of bedlam and pandemonium and crisis. Crisis is the best word for it. It doesn't realize that until it's too late and all hope is lost. So that's that story. Thank you for writing. One final letter for the Rep Week Interview 1. Greetings, Review Prowl. Optiluise here, writing once more from the Brazilian ECB office. Hope all is well in the kingdom of fast food, as I've also been partaking in some of the less than gourmet meals, or perhaps more than, I should say. First of all, I'd like to thank you for reading and complimenting my poem in the last program, as hearing it spoken out loud helped me put it in perspective. While I have some experience in prose, poetry has always been a mystery to me, but I intend to practice it more in order to spice up some of my other written work. In any case, I really appreciate your help. Now, regarding the latest VORW question, what do I think about the new Ghostbusters film? Well, I'm actually a pretty big fan of the original, so it's hard to form an unbiased opinion. However, I truly despised most, if not all, of the footage shown in trailers and TV spots since the film was announced. For some reason, it reminds me of an early 2000s trash film like Pluto Nash and Haunted Mansion. Nothing against Eddie Murphy, he just coincidentally starred in both of these rotten features. The excessive CGI and unfunny, quote, humor really put me off from wanting to see this in theaters. The controversy surrounding the all-female cast made things even worse. Even if the film bombs, it will be defended by many solely based off the SJW credit it's scored so far. There were also a few other clues that the film will underperform, as leaked studio emails revealed that Bill Murray is being legally forced to compliment and promote the feature, while the studio celebrated gender controversy, as it provided quite the buzz for a film that they had no confidence in. That being said, a few recent reviews came out claiming the movie's actually pretty decent, and the trailers don't do it justice. While I'm certain that it will never get to the heights of the amazing original, this has given me some hope that I won't be completely disappointed by Ghostbusters, so I might catch it at a matinee screening. I'm still hesitant, though, and I think this is the wrong tone for a true Ghostbusters remake reboot. Personally, I don't even mind the all-female main characters, but the movie itself just looks shallow. Anyways, I'd like to conclude this message with a quote made by my very own girlfriend. This was a while back before I had officially introduced her to the Report of the Week, but I'd already mentioned my fondness for Review Bra's videos. The quote is as follows. Louise, you don't even have breasts. Why are you searching for bra reviews? Or is this some sort of pervy thing? That's all for now, Review Bra. Thank you once again for your time, and keep the videos coming. Till next time, Optiluise out. And, P.S. I actually just thought of an important question for you, Review Bra. While us fans like to have fun with the nomenclature of the channel and its host, I'd like to know which name you prefer to be called, be it in VORW fan mail or even just in the YouTube comments. Is that a classic Review Bra, John, Report of the Week? We must know. And thank you for writing, and thank you for that lovely message. So, in terms of what I should be called, I always give that freedom, just to the viewers themselves. You can call me whatever you please, whatever you want. But my favorite title, of course, is lecturer. That's my favorite title. Someone to say, hello lecturer, hello dear lecturer. I always like that title, and it's one that's so seldom used anymore. It's a title I've always liked. It's been my favorite. And that's what I've got for you, I'm sure. We now have the VORW info email address. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that the question for this program is simply, write whatever you want. Have anything you want me to read? Have anything to ask me? Have any random things you please to say? That's what I have for you there. So you can write anything you want this time around. You have total creative control over the fan mail segment this time, so it's going to be a lot of variety. And it'll be interesting. Remember, you can email and write to me via one of three ways. youtube.com/user/the report of the week. About tab, send a message. Or you can email me, repweekinterview1@gmail.com. That's repweekinterview1, the number 1, @gmail.com, and no spaces between any of those letters or words. Or email me at vorwinfo@gmail.com. That's vorwinfo@gmail.com. We open up the VORW info address with 2 reception reports. This individual writing from Germany says he heard on June 22nd the VORW shortwave broadcast on 15,780 kilohertz from Armenia. SINPOV 23222, so weaker signals there. He was listening with his Kenwood TS 850S receiver with a long wire antenna. And he said he hopes to hear the programs again. That was from Germany. That was a reception report. And there was another shortwave reception report sent to me as well, of that same broadcast from a listener in Berlin, Germany, a separate listener. He said he was listening with his Texan PL660 shortwave receiver with just a telescopic antenna. Said the SINPO was a bit stronger, 44343. That means the signal is a bit stronger. He gave a detailed description of the program, some of the music that was played, and all of that. He says, I was very pleased of having to be able to hear your program, and he says he'll check my programs in the future when they're back on the air and try to send further reports. So thank you for writing from Berlin. Both of you will receive QSL cards from VORW, Radio International. And that being said, ladies and gentlemen, now let's crack into the other letters that we have here, and let's see what we have. Hello, Review Bra. I have followed your videos for some years now. Watching your personality grow may be the biggest pleasure I get from doing so. Stuff like stepping into the world to do your reviews has been fascinating to watch, the night reviews in your car being my personal favorites. I ask myself if now is the time to do the next step, to visit another country and do some food review and share your impressions with us. As I see it, your love for shortwave radio is a way to bring the world to you. Now could be the time to open yourself and go to the world. A trip to another country does not necessarily have to be expensive, and I'm sure there are many people ready all over the world to support your adventures. To start off with, you can travel to places like Scotland, Australia, or some European country. Language there is no problem, and people are always friendly to tourists from abroad. Rent a car, drive around, and just enjoy the experience. There's nothing to lose. Seeing you in some exotic places like Nepal, Uganda, Albania, would be incredible beyond imagination, and your viewers would give you the maddest props for being who you are. The brave bra who fights his fear to become a seriously individual. In that regard, you already have a role model. You already are a role model, doing what you do. You have viewers from all over the world. Go visit your friends. All the best, Hans from Germany. Well, thank you for writing, Hans. And, hey, you never know, right? Maybe I will go on a world tour one day, though I'd call it, I don't know what I'd call it, my world trip, because I'm not going to take the name away from Joey, who does his world tour. Okay. Hello, Vintage Bro. First-time writer. And I have to say, these are really well-made shows with a well-dressed host and a very entertaining content. I first saw GIFs and reactions image of you on various boards of 4chan, especially the one GIF where you seem to toss a pizza back in disgust into its box. About the Ghostbusters remake, I think this movie will not be great and possibly really mediocre. I am planning to see it with my GF, since she wants to, because she has a hunch a lot of internet dummies are going to defend the movie because it has women in the main cast. While female protagonist films are becoming a norm, especially with the Hunger Games films, the same way Hollywood and internet people are taking as if we were in the 1900s and women were not allowed to do much with their lives. In the end, it seems like a forced remake with a twist. Women are the main cast. So I think I will attribute incompetence and nepotism rather than feminism for the apparent glaring flaws from the trailers. And for the fans of the original, I know how it feels. I now know how it feels to have a thing you love to be raped in front of you, while people who have no connection with the original tell you that it is faithful or a step forward. Star Trek is one of those things for me to see a new cast act as children while the bad guy is either boring or incompetent at conveying why he is doing what he is doing, all while some hipster pretends to know more than me and tell me why I am wrong to hate a new version. Well, maybe the movie would be good and somehow they made a terrible trailer for it, but I doubt it. Thanks for reading my letter and have a nice day. And thank you for writing, and who knows what they'll do with this movie, how it'll be. On to the next here. Review, bro. I recently subscribed to your channel 3 weeks ago, and I've been binge-watching / listening to VORW. I like your style, and I'm glad I discovered this channel. You asked us last week on VORW what we thought about the new Ghostbusters movie. I've watched the trailer, and I've watched reactions to the trailer. And unfortunately, I can't bring myself to have a strong opinion either way. I don't go to the movies very often, the one exception recently being a Warcraft movie. Long story short, I'm not going to be seeing the movie because it has no interest to me, not because I hate it like most of the internet does. Since we're on the subject, I would like to say I feel that way too many people depend on what the popular opinion is in order to form their own. Not enough people have their own real opinions on things. Right now, it's the popular opinion to absolutely despise everything about the new Ghostbusters movie trailer. It's also popular to make fun of Kanye West. Popular to say, say Nickelback is the worst band ever. I'm sorry, I truly am, but they are not that bad. I was born in '91, and I grew up listening to them. They're not my favorite, but they don't deserve the massive amount of hate they get. Yeah, no, I agree there. Nickelback, I have a few songs from theirs that I enjoy. I actually feel the same about this Ghostbusters trailer. I will admit it doesn't look like a very good movie. However, I wonder how many people actually feel like it's trash versus how many people just want to agree with the loudest voices so they can fit in. The way people are reacting to this trailer, it's like they are personally deeply offended by it. The comment section of the trailer looks worse than the comment section of a political opinion video. People get so heated and angry over what? Don't watch the movie if you don't want to watch the movie. Thanks for letting me rant. From Ashley in Seattle, Washington. Well, thank you for writing, Ashley, and again, a rare contradictory opinion there. Hi, Review Brah. I'm a huge fan. Your VORW gives me that feeling reminiscent to when I discovered Art Bell's broadcasts, barely coming in on AM radio late at night. Yeah, Art Bell. Art Bell was carried on shortwave via a station called WTWW out of Lebanon, Tennessee. So he was actually relayed via shortwave in his program Midnight in the Desert. Now he has someone else hosting it, and I don't know, WTWW is going through some rough times, so it seems. Their transmitters are barely on the air anymore. A lot of the programs that they were relaying aren't even broadcast anymore, nor is Midnight in the Desert. So we'll see, but hopefully they'll remain on shortwave. But maybe the station's going under, who can say. Anyways, I was surprised to hear that others listen to VORW to fall asleep, because I was doing the same. I keep my iPad open in bed with me listening to VORW. Your demeanor and voice is very soothing to me. I was wondering if you ever plan to put VORWs in podcast format. I don't know how to do that. There's someone who puts them on iTunes, or at least did, and people tell me every now and then that they're not there anymore, but I unfortunately can lend no assistance to that. I just make the shows and distribute them via YouTube exclusively. And then he continued on, talking about how small plugs for sites could be added to get some revenue coming in, and what have you. And no, that's fine. It's all good regarding your offer, but I will let you know if I need that. He concludes it saying, I really hope more people get to hear your broadcasting talent. Food reviews are just a beginning. If I can help with anything, don't hesitate to drop me a line. Best regards from JD. Well, thank you for writing, JD. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 more letters. This is from a shortwave listener in China. It says, "Dear sir, I found some reports of your shortwave transmission. Could you kindly tell me the exact frequency and schedule for your broadcasting? Thank you very much." And my pleasure. He's referring to the broadcast via Armenia 2 on 15780 kilohertz, which was from 100 kilowatts. And I plan on broadcasting via Armenia again, perhaps in late July. Probably late July, I'm going to have another transmission to Asia, and maybe a transmission to North America as well. So I'll keep you updated there. Frequency to North America will most likely be probably 7490 kilohertz via WBCQ. Though I may transmit via WRMI on a frequency such as 11,580 kilohertz or via 7570 kilohertz. But I'll keep you updated, and especially with the Asian transmission, so you can tune in from your own receiver in China. But it's a pleasure to have you write again, so thank you for that. Hi Reviewer, just wanted to say I enjoy your reviews, especially the VORW. Here's a piece of fan art I did. I hope you like it. Regards from Nick. Well, thank you for writing, Nick. And that's a nice little piece of fan art there. It'll gladly be attached in this program. Thank you very much for that. And we have one final letter here. Hello, and this is a response to the last VORW programs. First, I am apathetic towards the new Ghostbusters. I watched the trailer and it certainly doesn't look good, but I feel the same way about all of these reboots. Imagine if a band, let's say Oasis, started releasing new songs. You'd be excited, right? Until you found out that these songs were just remixes of their old hits. To me, that's Hollywood in the present. Tying this into the previous VORW question, I'm not addicted to social media, and I've actually started to disavow it. The new Ghostbusters is a good example of why. I've seen a lot of posts about the movie, but 99% of all these posts were about the quote-unquote controversy of the all-female cast and the debate around that. I won't comment on nor open that can of worms. The point is that this has nothing to do with the movie's actual plot, and a lot with getting people fired up over politics, typing furiously away in the comments section. These days, most social media posts are linked to a news article or meme, image, etc. Nothing actually about the person themselves. Social media has shifted from keeping in touch with friends towards turning your profile into an advertising platform for both your likes and your beliefs in the aforementioned comment sections. Yes, it is. It's what it is now. It's all about promoting political ideologies on the social media. It's not about the vacation photos. People still think it is, but it's, a lot of people use it now as a political platform as well, completely unaware of what they're doing. For the most part, all these real-time news updates and trending stories are just like the static in a shortwave radio. Rarely meaningful, just noise. Great comparison, and I do agree. The phrase yesterday's news comes to mind, and now it might be more apt to call it last second's news. Anyway, rant over, and I have a question for you. I first came across your channel from the Watershed Pan Pizza review. First I thought it was another cringe video and wrote it off, but later I watched a Bavarian pretzel review and got a real kick out of the water incident, and later really got hooked after the first few VORWs. So a question for you: is there something you initially disliked and wrote off and changed your mind on later on? Is it possible that the grilled stuffed nacho could become a review bra favorite? Perhaps too extreme? All the best. Well, thank you for writing, and thank you for the message. One thing that I think I can easily say this in the food world was the ghost pepper griller. Now, they don't have it anymore, sadly, in Taco Bell, but they had this item about a year ago. Let me just look up the word ghost. That should do it. Let's see, loading. Yeah, it was the Taco Bell Fiery Ghost Pepper Daredevil Griller review. August 18th, 2015, it was. And I did a review of it, and I was a bit critical on it, saying that the spice just wasn't there, that it was a bit disappointing in that regard. But I came to have a liking of it. I came to enjoy it, and became a favorite item of mine from Taco Bell, actually. I wished I still had it, because I'd gladly eat that again. I gladly would. Well, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's all that I have for you. Remember, you can write in repweekinterview1@gmail.com, vorwinfo@gmail.com, or YouTube, send that message in. And remember, there is no set topic for the fan mail in this next one. Write in whatever you please, and hope to keep it varied in that regard. Really looking forward to it. Hope it is quite varied and quite diverse, and I think it'll be very fun to see what we get. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. This is VORW, the voice of the report of the week. Hope you have a great week upcoming. Uploads will be more frequent of VORW since we have the equipment now to do so. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, VORW show number 127 concluded.